That's not enough, my friend.
But
small time, my friend. You're bigger than that. You can do better. You know, I'm taking the gloves off. What is responsibility? It's a response to your ability, right? If you have high ability, what Uncle Ben meant to say, what he should have said is, Peter.
So what is that? Hold on, I'm just curious. Hold on, wait. I'm so curious, okay? A man that wants to be the leader of a country who thinks he's above the Constitution, who thinks that the media shouldn't be allowed to talk about him, and who wants to be immune from all criminal and civil liability. What does that sound like to you?
Oh, wait, okay. And
wait, no, answer that question. What does that sound like to you? You can fight me on that. Just what does it sound like to you?
It sounds like tyranny. It sounds like tyranny.
No, it sounds like a literal dictator, right? Yeah.
Dictatorship. Yeah, it sounds like dictatorship. 100%.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, what's up?
So, today, here, let me mute the stream real quick. Today, I kind of wanted to talk to you about a big disagreement that I have with you.
Okay. I already know what it is.
What do you think it is? I want you to guess then, if you think you know.
How the economy is doing for Zoomers and Millennials?
No, that's not it. This is much bigger than that.
Okay, what is it?
My disagreement with you is that I think that you personally are not doing enough.
Okay.
I think that you have a lot of talent and a lot of ability and a big platform. And the ability to do a lot more than you're doing right now. And I think that you aren't doing that.
What else do you
And I think you have a moral responsibility to do that. I think you should be organizing politically. I think that you should be promoting the types of political ideologies that we should be looking for in our next candidates.
Doesn't trying to get my community to go out and like canvas and stuff? Isn't that like trying to organize politically a bit?
I mean, that is, and I applaud you for that. I think that when you do that, that's my favorite version of you, Steve.
Okay.
Is that version of you. I think that you spend a lot of time talking with these idiots, just people who it's not gonna move the needle meaningfully in terms of what we really need right now. Like all of us, you know what I mean? All of your viewers here, the rest of the country, and you know, you're in your 30s now, I am too. I just turned 38. And I have started to think very seriously about the responsibility that I have as a person in my position and what I can do. And I would encourage you to kind of do the same. And I think that you are, and I have some ideas. If you're not sure of what you could be doing, I could make some suggestions to you.
Sure, go ahead.
But I would. So one thing that I think that I would strongly encourage you to do is to start creating a personal platform for what you would consider to be strong qualifications for our political candidates coming into 2024. All the way down. I would also encourage you to work.
What do you mean by that?
What's that?
What can you explain what you mean by that?
Like, so for instance, you know, a lot of people are kind of unguided on like, oh, you know, the housing crisis, right? If you were to ask me and say, hey, what are the biggest problems right now that we're facing right now? And, you know, me, you, in our country, because let's be real, me and you, we're Americans, right? Like I'm America first. Don't get me wrong. Like I love this country. I bleed red, white, and blue. I'm a second generation immigrant. My grandfather was Ukrainian and fought for the Soviets in World War II, came over here and made a life, you know what I mean? And I love this country. I lived in Russia for a little while. I know what it's like. I've visited China probably more than 12 or 14 times. I know what it's like in places that are not like this. And a lot of us, a lot of people don't know that. You know, a lot of people don't understand just how lucky we are to have what we have, you know. I appreciate it. And like I said, I love the fuck out of this country. I'm an American. I'm not ashamed of that. This country's done a lot of great things. It's done some bad stuff, but it's done a lot of great things too. And yeah, so in terms of, you know, policy stuff, right? People are gonna start looking, if you ask me, what are the big problems that we have right now? I would say number one is housing. I think that's the biggest issue that we're seeing as the generations change.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that, yeah, housing. And yeah, I know you've said this before, and the only solution to fixing housing is to build more housing, right? So how are you helping contribute? Meaning, if you identify that as the biggest issue, how are you contributing meaningfully towards moving the needle forward on that?
I mean, I think all I really do is talk about it. It's it's pretty hard.
Well, maybe you could do a little more.
What else could I possibly do about that?
We can organize. We can start organizing politically.
Yeah, but
and start
organize
putting
what?
out
I feel like
ideas
it's a
of-
hard thing because it's like you're fighting
tell you.
against the interests of homeowners there, who are like your biggest voter base. I don't know how to organize against them.
There are more non-homeowners than there are homeowners in Los Angeles, in California.
Yeah,
You
but
were
my
here.
guess
In
is
fact,
your homeowners are probably your strongest voters, right? Like if you break it down by age, they probably going to be skew older and more
Yeah.
politically active are going to be your, yeah.
They are currently, but that's not going to be the case for long. Right now, so this is changing rapidly, right? We see this, like younger people are more in tune with what's going on politically. Why? Because it matters more to them. I think young people understand that, oh shit, this is going to become our problem very soon, right? Like it's 2024. This is a big year, my friend. I hope you understand that this is a very, very, very big year. And I don't know that you've really taken the time to think of the gravitas of what this year could be, depending on what you personally decide to do. And, I like to share this quote from Steve Jobs, and it's a really fantastic quote. He says, listen, he goes, everything around me and you, everything that was built around us was built by ordinary people who are no different than you and me. They just had a vision and they saw what they wanted to build and they went out and they did something to do it and build it. And you can see that I'll link you this. It's a really fantastic little YouTube interview of him from maybe the early 90s. Mm-hmm. Smart guy, Steve Jobs, very talented, smart guy, because he was a visionary. He saw what he wanted for the future, and he built that, right? And I think that you have a similar ability to be a visionary. I think that you can, and I think you probably do this. My guess is in your free time, you probably think of, hey, what should things look like? And that's great, but it's all meaningless unless you actually do something to build it.
Okay, well, I mean, I'll continue talking about it, but yeah.
That's not enough, my friend. And I think you have a moral compulsion to do more than just talk about it, to actually be actively involved in organizing.
I mean, I can support organizers.
Yeah, but I think you should actively be organizing.
I don't want to organize. Organizing sucks. I don't like that.
I know you don't want to. Oh, trust me, I know. But like doing what we have to do sometimes fucking sucks, bro.
Why would I do something I'm not like as great at when I can do something that I'm really good at? Yeah.
Because you have the ability.
I think there are other people that can organize better than me. I don't think I'm like the best organizer. No, I have a platform. Yeah, but I only have that platform because I'm like doing punditry, because I'm doing what you're telling me to quit doing or stop or doing less of.
So, okay, well then instead of me saying organizing, why don't you become a leader and work with organizers?
I do. I literally try to.
Who?
Well, right now we're hopefully working with Progressive Victory, we're doing their canvassing stuff through. I try to like interview candidates and stuff when their campaigns want to bring them onto my stream if they want to. But
small time, my friend. You're bigger than that. You can do better.
Okay, well, I don't know how closely people want to work with me on like big time stuff because my reputation online is like
a lot of people. It's okay. There's you have a lot of people who are around our age right now, 38, 39, 40s, and we will gladly work with you, and I will work with you. Gladly.
Okay, well, listen, post in the subreddit.
And I want you, and here's the other thing, right? And here's the other thing is that I have other people who are looking to work with me, right? I'm organized, like between you and me, there's a big gap in our relative resources, right? You have a lot of resources. I don't have nearly as much.
Uh-huh.
I'm doing my best to organize, and I've got actually a pretty good team over here in Southern California. They're smart people, young people who and when I say young, I mean under 45. Mm-hmm. And we're organizing. We're trying to like really move the needle forward in terms of how we make meaningful change in terms of our housing, police reform. We're proponents of some kind of what we call now GSI, guaranteed supplemental income, some kind of monthly stipend for people, everyone, kind of like a form of UBI, but it's smaller. I'm going to start there. And we're really trying to like create a real platform with real ideas and really organize to like start getting people elected who are going to make meaningful change in our government. And I don't know exactly the extent to what you're doing. My guess is that you probably could be doing more. And I know that you stream a lot. I get that. My guess is you probably don't have to stream as much as you do. That's my guess. My guess
so
is
you want me to cut into my income? You wanted to cut into my career trajectory growth? You want me to cut into the influence and outreach I have in order to maybe pick out some possibly, organizing things somewhere and throw a bunch of money at it and hopefully maybe it goes somewhere.
Yes. That's what I'm asking you kindly. Like,
I feel like it'd be better for me to like focus on what I do best and try to probably get my ideas like that. And then if I can find people that are easy to work with in the future, I'd probably do that. I feel like that's probably a better allocation of my talents and resources.
Do you think it's best to do what you do best or what you could be most effective at?
Well, I think there's a huge overlap between those two things.
I agree, but they're not the same.
They're almost the same. It's almost a
no, they're not, because sometimes you might be in a specific position where maybe you're not the best person for the job, but because of your unique position in terms of your talent, you're uniquely positioned to succeed at that role.
Well, I think that's why you find other people to hire to do those things.
So you don't feel a strong, you don't feel that you could be doing more.
I mean, I try to find places where I can do more, hence the canvassing stuff and talking about the political stuff. And I'm trying to research and read more so that I can be more educational when I have debates.
What do you think that your personal responsibility is towards making meaningful change politically in our country?
Well, I think that my responsibility is to propagate my ideas and try to support and live my values as much as possible. That when I find areas where I can make huge improvements or contributions to people that I think would be highly effective at effecting the political change that I think is important, that I should probably try to do that.
Okay. And so what do you expect, like, in terms of your plan? How do you feel that plays out? Do you think that, like, we're just going to get a bunch of new candidates elected from that, and that'll do it, and hopefully that's enough? Or do you think that there's more that can be done?
I mean, there's always more that can be done, but I think that my most important talent is that I'm good at arguing with people. I'm pretty presentable for online stuff. And I can apparently learn a decent amount. So my talents are probably best used like fighting with people on the internet, spreading my message via social media, continue to grow that way. And then finding like political projects that I want to support on the side that I can throw my community or some money at in the meantime.
Okay. I think that is a lot of, I agree with a lot of that, but I think that you still, there's more that you can do. That's all I'm saying.
Can you point to a single other online content creator that does as much or more than I do?
Probably not, but that just because you do the most doesn't mean that you're living to the most of your potential, right? Like, you have the potential to do more. That's what I'm saying.
Sure, you always have the potential to do more, but like, why would I risk nosediving the thing that I'm the best at just to take a gamble on something else? Why wouldn't I continue to?
I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
I'll tell you why. Okay. Because you have been put in a position of unique success, right, and opportunity. And the truth about success and opportunity is that our success is not our own. We don't own our own success, right? Our success is because we were either in the right place at the right time, or we had people behind us, or we happened to be born in a country that allowed that type of success with the types of technological advantages and freedoms that allowed it. So no man is an island, right? You know this quote, it's Robert Frost, I think. All of our success is built on the successes of others, right? And so, Jordan Peterson said this, and it's something that I take I don't agree with everything that he says. Obviously, he's got some weird thing, but some of the stuff he says is on point. One of the things he says, some of us, and you'll identify with this, some of us are uniquely talented, right? And we were born talented. And he says this, he says he understands that he's a smart guy, right? And as somebody who's either talented or put in a position where their talent can grow, that is not their own. They didn't do that themselves, right? You were born with that. In fact, it was because of your parents or the other people around you that allowed that to happen. So your gifts are not your own, right? And this is something that we used to teach a lot in religion. Like, we used to have churches to kind of teach us these philosophies, these moral philosophies, right? And I think the idea of church in terms of guiding our moral philosophy is actually a really important part of social institution, right? But I think that we've lost that. And I think people, and this is why you see there are people out here like the Logan Pauls of the world and stuff, and who their goal is to get wealthy. Their goal is to make money and to have fame, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're saying like, listen, I might be jeopardizing my money and my streaming and my whatever, yes, I understand that. And I hope, and it's from most of my experiences with you, I would think that you are not the kind of person who prioritizes money because you don't love money. You understand money and you respect money and you see that its utility value and what it can provide. But I don't think that you're a lover of money, because the people who are lovers of money, they change. They act in ways to help them make more money. You see this with the Hassan Abis and the characters of the world, the Donald Trumps. They will change their character or who they are to get more money, right? And we need to call these people out. And we need to be calling them out publicly, right? And standing with the people who and so, yeah, I understand it might not be, but there are other, if money is an issue, which I don't think it is for you from what I understand, but if money is an issue and you really couldn't afford it, there are other ways to make money other than being an online personality as well that are still enacting meaningful change. we don't have to, that's a whole other discussion. But what I'm saying is that, it's not money. They say in the Bible, it says, people always go, oh, the Bible says money is the root of all evil. That's actually a misquote. It's the love of money is the root of all evil, right? People who love money. And you can tell people like Donald Trump love money. People like Logan Paul love money. They love it because they don't understand the life that is often better lived without it. So anyway.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Do you have any interest in being able to be more effective if you could be?
I mean, I'm always looking at things, yeah.
Like, do I sound crazy to you, my friend?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
A little bit? I know that. Like, look, here's the thing, right?
Uh-huh.
You'll identify with this because some people, like, I'm taking the gloves off, right? Some people, like you and me, we're born with exceptional ability and talent, right? And this was not something that we chose. It was just like, you just happen to be lucky. You happen to get smart, right? Like, school was always easy. When you do tasks, they're always easy for some reason. People, when you do things, you tend to excel at them, right? You probably identify with this, do you not?
Yeah, depending on the project, sure.
Yeah, because you're a naturally talented guy, clearly. Your brain works well. It has good wiring inside of it. You got a high-speed processor, right? So for those of us who have that kind of talent, it's my feeling that we have a moral responsibility to do what we can to really move the needle forward on the issues that, like, are really affecting a lot of us, such as, like I said, housing is a big problem, and I think we can solve it. And I think that if we work together, like, I genuinely think, like, we have plans. Like, I've been working with some smart people. We have plans on how we can, like, meaningfully create housing in California and around the United States, right?
I mean, like, so what are you guys working on? What have you guys done so far?
Okay, so right now in California, so right now we understand that it's very difficult to move the needle forward in California right now because of the stronghold that the Democrats have on our political system, right? They kind of have like a political monopoly, right? If you don't have the support of the Democratic Party, the establishment, it's very difficult to, like, get elected. We think that shouldn't be the case. We think that, like, people should be able to have other ideas for how things should be run and not have to worry about towing the party line. So with that said, one of the goals, one of the things that we also, am I bothering you? If I'm bothering you, I can go.
No, we're just hanging out.
Okay, I see you playing the piano, and if that just helps you take your mind and lets you think, I understand. But if it's
okay,
if it's
let me refocus. So I asked a specific question. I'm just curious. What have you guys done so far? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, what we've done, I would rather show you. It's not public yet. I'd rather kind of show you, like, what we've worked on so far in private, or I can share it with you.
Okay. Let me ask another question.
We have a party platform.
Are there any candidates that you've supported, or any elections that you've fundraised for, or?
Yeah, a few actually.
Which ones?
So I'm not on the candidate selection team. I can find out for you. I'm on the policy team. And
I'm just curious. Like, what's team. Give me like a candidate you guys have supported in which election?
So I think right now Yang just supported Dean Phillips.
I'm not asking about Andrew Yang. I said the people you're working with.
Let me see. There's I think it was like Nithya. We have some people on our team who work for Nithya Rahman here, Los Angeles City Council District 8 or something like that. We have somebody else here who did fundraising for former House of Representatives. I think someone in the House of Representatives, Tom Campbell, I believe.
Are these have you guys raised money for these people, or what do you like?
Yes, there has been some money. Like I said, so I can kind of tell you where we are at right now.
Sure.
Right?
Tell me where you're
specifically. At. So. Long story short, the Forward Party nationally was established a couple years ago, right? And in California, there was another political party called the Common Sense Party, right? And the Common Sense Party already had a lot of aligned values with the Forward Party nationally. And so the Forward Party made an agreement with the Common Sense Party to say, hey, listen, we're going to not have operations in California until 2024. And give the Common Sense Party kind of the room to kind of build their whatever and then make the changeover. So we've done that now. We've literally, filed a Secretary of State everything. We had our first all volunteers meeting about a week ago. And, the goal right now is to start working on policy and creating essentially a party platform for the candidates that we want to endorse. And one of our big party platform policy points is housing and how we want to tackle that. And it's not just like, oh, housing needs to change, right? It's so easy to say, oh, housing needs to change, or we need police reform, or but we're making like real, like,
Okay,
I'll give you an example.
Real quick, okay. You said, what was your work background?
I'm a software engineer.
Okay. I remember you saying
so
that.
I build apps and websites and stuff, and I've worked with a lot of large e-commerce companies that do like between 50 and like 250 million in revenue. So they're sizable operations, and they have like shipping, fulfillment software, CRM software, ERP software that manages all the orders coming in and out, and finances, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm a tech guy. I am ADHD. Obviously, you probably can tell that about me. It's pretty clear. As I said, I don't take meds on the weekends, so my apologies. But it's nice to have a natural brain on the weekends.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out, like, if I'm asking for trying to ask for like a thing, and I've got a lot of words that don't mean much. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
Okay, so you want to know like who we're actually working with, and how we're trying to like move the needle forward.
Like, just literally anything concrete whatsoever. Yeah.
Okay. Well. So under the Common Sense Party, we got about 30,000 Californians to change their party registration from the Democratic Party to the Common Sense Party. We are going to be converting a lot of those over to the Forward Party. And the goal right now in California, because we missed the deadline to get on the ballot, so we can't actually run candidates in California in 2024 under the Forward Party. But what we can do is we can endorse candidates. So our goal right now is party growth, right? So what we want to do in 2024 is we're building a party platform for California specifically. The Forward Party California's party platform. This is only for California. Every state can have a different party platform as long as it doesn't conflict with National's party platform. And National's party platform is like very minimal. It's like literally like do good things for people or something silly. That Yang likes that. But anyway, we're allowed to have our own party platforms. And so we do. And so we built our own. And a lot of the states were sharing ideas, right? We work closely with the guys over in Ohio and Georgia and Texas. They're all really good people. And so the goal is we want to build the party platform. We're publishing, and once it's ready, we're publishing it on our website. And then we want to start organizing and growing support for the party, for people who support these types of ideas. And here's the thing: you don't have to do anything other than change your party affiliation, right? All you have to do to support us is just tell the Secretary of State. You go online. It takes like literally 3 minutes. Change your party affiliation and say, hey, listen, I don't like the Democrats' ideas. It seems like they're not moving the ball forward fast enough, but I like these guys' ideas.
Wait, so have you guys developed a full platform yet?
Yeah, we're pretty close. I can kind of show you like.
What are you if you're getting 30,000 people to swap parties, what are you doing that on the basis of with no platform developed?
Well, that was 30,000 people's not that many in California for what that's worth. I mean, I hate to say it, but it is, the reality of the situation. But
why, if you're trying to start like making a change, why focus on like a statewide election in like the largest state in the country that probably some of the most expensive elections in the country?
We're not focusing on a statewide election.
What are you focusing on?
We're focusing on building party membership, right? So the idea is that in 2024, we can't run candidates and you can't have candidates, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? Mm-hmm. And if you do change your party affiliation from Democrat or Republican to Forward Party, you can still vote for whoever you want to vote for. You can still, literally, the general, it doesn't matter.
Even in primaries or?
So that's the only difference, right? The only difference is in primaries. But
so you're taking 30,000 people away from the Democratic primary. We'd most likely find somebody that agrees with you, and now they're removed from the primaries, and they can't vote for anybody because you guys missed the deadline for running candidates.
Yeah, potentially, and that won't affect anything at all because the Democrats have like 87, monopoly on most elections.
Okay.
So
how many did you convert people? Do you know like the percentage? Did you convert most of these people from Democratic voters or from Republican voters?
Yeah, of course, because California is like 65% Democrat. So just by but but it's not the vast majority. It's we're about close. We're actually pretty close to about 65% liberals and 35%. It's like 70-30. So we do get a fair amount of conservatives. We get the moderate conservatives, the reasonable conservatives, the not the Donald Trump conservatives. Those are not our people.
Okay. Right? What's like an election you guys are fixated on for I guess the next election cycle? Like,
so the big ones that I'm working on in my team, because I'm based in Los Angeles, is LA City Council.
Okay.
Right. We've got re-election campaigns here, and there are some politicians here who are really preventing us from making meaningful change in terms of our housing situations here in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to remove them.
Do you have like a particular candidate then that you guys want to support? Or do you have any big candidates that are willing to work with you guys?
I don't know that I can speak enough on that right now. Like I said, I'm not on the candidate team. I'm on policy and tech.
Okay.
But we'll find them. I assure you, we'll find them. We have a really good support. Like, people that we're associated with. Mark Merrill from Riot Games, right? You know him.
Trendemir, right?
Yeah, Trendemir, exactly. Yeah, he supports us, and good friend.
What do you mean by supports you? Like, how much money has he donated to you guys?
I can't tell you. I don't have that in front of me.
Are those filings public? I don't remember. I don't know if you guys
actually
are like.
I actually don't know.
Okay.
I actually don't know.
Okay.
Ed Helms from The Office. Andy.
Are these guys supporting the Common Sense Party or the Forward Party?
So they were originally, and now they're supporting the Forward Party. We're trying to get who's the other person that we were talking to? Adam Conover from Adam Ruins Everything. Somebody that again. I'm not gonna like try to bullshit you. Like, we're in it's early stages, right? Like, the idea is that we network, right? Is that we create something that people really can support. And like I said, I would be happy to show you like our party platform and where we're at right now. I think you'll like it. It's good. Like, for instance, with police reform, we want civilian oversight committees, or at least some kind of oversight committees that are at least have some amount of civilians on them, non LEOs, to review instances of police weapon discharge. We also want to. We don't want police to have not all police should have firearms. Most police are absolutely fine to have tasers and pepper spray. And we need to start rebuilding the public trust in our police. And we need more police on the streets doing foot patrol. And like, I know that means it's less comfortable, whatever, but hey, listen, you're a public servant, you're making $250,000 a year. I've seen it. Right? A lot of these guys are billing overtime when they're not even working. Hey, if you want to do that shit, you better be walking. You shouldn't be 250 pounds, bro. Right? So we're gonna, like, we have real policies that we want to support, and we want people, if they decide to change, their party, they're saying that we support this stuff. Same thing, term limits. We are self-imposing term limits on candidates that run for the Forward Party. So if you know that if you're in favor of term limits, if you vote for somebody who's running under the Forward Party, they are subject to term limits for all offices, right? So we may not be able to change this nationally. We may not be able to pass a constitutional amendment to but we know that, hey, if you vote for a Forward Party candidate, that's the same thing as voting for a candidate with term limits. So that's a competitive advantage for us, right? Hopefully.
Okay. Well, listen, sounds like you
got
guys
a lot of stuff we're working on, and I know I sound crazy, my friend, but I'm a dreamer, but I'm not a bullshit dreamer. I'm a talented dreamer. Okay. I build good stuff. I promise you. Like, I'll show you some stuff that I've built if you're interested. I'm not, I designed a dining chair when I was working for a furniture company. It's a bestseller on Amazon. It's got 1,200 something reviews, 4.7 stars. I designed this chair from scratch, right? Flying back and forth to China, whatever. There's more than 1 million of these units have been sold in the country. I'm not to say that that's like some big, huge to do, but I'm not an idiot. I'm a talented person. I know that. And I understand with talent comes responsibility, right? They say that, responsibility. What is responsibility? It's a response to your ability, right? If you have high ability, your response to that should be great, right? If you have low ability, well, then your response is lower, right? Okay. So with ability, here I say this, right? Spider-Man, right? Uncle Ben. Yeah. He goes, what does he say? He goes, Peter, with great power comes great responsibility. No, Stan Lee was not a good wordsmith. What Uncle Ben meant to say, what he should have said is, Peter, with great ability comes great responsibility. You have a Peter Parker did not have power. He was not the kingpin. He had ability. He did not have power. All right? And his ability, his responsibility is in response to his ability. Right? And that's all I'm saying, right? And so, I understand I have some ability, right? I'm not the most capable guy in the world. I know that. I'm not the smartest, whatever, but I'm not an idiot. I've got some talent, man. Seriously. I make good shit. I promise you. I'll show you anything that I've worked on. You'll be like, damn, that's pretty, I'll show you anything. And all I'm trying to say is that I've started to really consider very strongly my moral responsibility to, I guess, to my ability, right? And that's all this call is about, man. It's about just asking you, maybe, hopefully, to consider the same.
Okay,
that's it, my friend.
All
right. But I want you to know that as always, I truly, truly respect you. One of the few people that I would say has never ever sold out your integrity for money, and that's why I really respect you. So.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. All right, dude. Take care. And like I said, I hope we talk again.
Yeah. Have fun. Be careful.
All right, dude. Bye.
Hey, how are you doing?
Okay, how you doing?
Nice to talk to you. I'm doing all right. I had to leave the stream I didn't leave, but I had to get away from my computer and stuff for about 3 or 4 hours. So I don't really know what the topic is now.
Didn't you want to come in last night and talk about something? And I said, come tomorrow.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of what I was seeing was actually pertaining to that, and I actually felt pretty good listening to a lot of the stuff that you were saying with those with the gentlemen that were on the stream just now. Pretty much my thesis. I have a couple of these things that I want to address, really, but the first one and the major one that I was talking to you about last night, which I feel like I don't know if you internalized it, thought about it, I don't know, whatever, but was the rhetoric regarding conservatives and regarding modern conservatism, Trump supporters, things like that. That was really my main issue, and then I have a bunch of other ones, but very inflammatory that I don't want to get into necessarily right away. But I feel like the rhetoric that you've promoted recently, maybe not so much within the last 2 days, but recently regarding conservatives, has been pretty damaging. And I guess it's emblematic of left-wing culture as a whole recently.
Okay.
I feel like it's a lot of demonization, fear-mongering, a lot of misinformation about conservatives, and it's based on this, I don't know, I guess it's based on this kind of and not arrogance, I don't want to say it's arrogance, but so that's pretty much my main thesis that I wanted to talk to you about yesterday, but then I heard some other things today that y'all were talking about. I'm trying to keep that as succinct as possible. I wrote them down, but okay, so I don't necessarily, pertaining to January 6th, I have a very inflammatory position. I guess I can expand on it. Since it happened, I haven't had a problem with what happened on January 6th, morally, ethically, anything like that. I think it's a product of being in a free society and being in a liberal society. I think revolts and uprisings, and not revolts and uprisings, but
careful, you almost said the quiet part out loud there. Well,
I want to use y'all's terminology, but
don't use your own terminology. What you think actually happened? Use the stuff.
I guess a civil unrest, civil uprising would be how I would classify everything within everything pertaining to January 6th. But I don't have any moral issues with it. I don't think that American values are contrary to what happened on January, or I don't think American values contradict anything that happened on January 6th. I think it's very anti-American to demonize people and demonize, do
you think it's
demonize the right wing on that?
Is it an American value to ask the vice president to decide the election?
Is it American?
Or is it contrary to American values for Trump to ask Pence to decide the election?
I don't necessarily think that it's, maybe not necessarily. No, actually I don't. Not really. I think, so you've heard of Marbury versus Madison, right?
The judicial review, yeah.
Yeah. I think presidents trying to flip things in at the last minute, trying to, I don't know, mess with, I think that's part of part of American history. It's happened plenty of times. It's not anything that's abnormal or anything.
Well, to be clear, I don't think this has ever happened in U.S. history. Has there ever been an example of a president asking the vice president to decide the election for him?
No, not at all. No.
Okay, so this has never happened. So I'm curious, is there anything the president can do that would be like illiberal or anti whatever to you, or?
My issue wasn't really with Trump and what he's done. Is more like the whole January 6th in general. Like,
well, sure. I mean, we can move to that next. But I'm just curious for our Trump's. I just don't understand how you can say like you support the. American...
I don't think Trump is a liberal person at all. And I think the systems that we have in place and everything. You know, the whole reason the founding fathers kind of built the Constitution the way it is to prevent people like Trump from doing what they did 100%.
Sure, but I'm asking like is asking the vice president to flip the election, do we really think that's like comporting with the American system? That seems to be
not necessarily that action, but I don't think that really changes what my point was necessarily. I could be wrong.
I'm just focusing on Donald Trump. I just think asking, because you said January 6th is a product of being in a free society. So Trump was one aspect of that. So I'm just asking the vice president to unilaterally decide the election. Is that like an American value, or is that how our government should work if we believe in liberalism and elections? And
I'd probably say no. I think I'm not necessarily the smartest person to ask about this, but I would probably say no.
Okay, I think I'd probably agree with that. So if the public is there all vibing with Trump and supporting Trump when Trump is saying Pence is going to save us and unilaterally throughout the election, why wouldn't that also be un-American? Like, why would I support the rioters or the crowd chanting for the same thing that I don't think Donald Trump should even be able to do?
Well, was that the whole purpose of January? I don't know if the purpose of people going down there for January 6th was like, I don't think they were going down there with the mindset of we are in support of Trump telling Pence to unilaterally like decide the election and like throw out these electors and put in fake ones.
Okay, maybe not. My supporting evidence for that is that Donald Trump tweeted about it prior to that. He tweeted out that Pence was going to be the one to unilaterally decide the election, that Pence was the guy that we were all relying on. He made multiple references to it in his speech, and that when Pence failed after the riot had already begun, Trump was tweeting out that Pence had failed, and then rioters on tape all began chanting, "Hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence." Does any of this evidence make you think that maybe some part, at least, of the rioters were there because of what they thought Pence could do?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, 100%. I don't think, but wasn't that all within the same day? Am I incorrect in saying that? Like all the
I believe that the Pence stuff was tweeted about before Jan 6th. Somebody can check me.
If somebody can check that. Yeah, because I think the whole going down to the Capitol on January 6th that had been something that people had been thinking about for a while. And as somebody who I don't necessarily, the people around me aren't necessarily conservative, but I go to church and all that kind of stuff where conservative people are more likely to be. So I do get their perspective a lot.
So Trump was like on December 23rd, Trump was retweeted a memo titled Operation Pence Card.
Okay.
I could look for other tweets, but I know that this stuff was like publicly, everybody knew this was happening before January 6th. Like,
right, yeah, and I get it. And 100% I can see to you. I don't think Trump at all was a good person to back and for
Well, I'm not saying Trump wasn't a good person to back. I'm saying Trump doesn't support democracy. And I'm saying that he had the support of a bunch of people who also don't seem to support democracy.
Is that true? I don't know if that sentiment's true.
I don't think the vice president unilaterally determining the outcome of an election, I don't consider that democracy. That sounds like authoritarianship to me.
Maybe. I don't. My whole problem. Okay, so the reason I say that it's a product of living in a free society and civil unrest is going to
We're not talking about civil unrest right now. I'm talking about what the civil unrest is for, which was an authoritarian action. That was civil unrest is fine, but it was to support an authoritarian action, which is the vice president choosing the winner of the election.
But people in American history and like throughout America have supported authoritarian action all the time. It doesn't necessarily mean that the people support authoritarianism, or like, I mean, whenever Democrats implemented the income tax with Woodrow Wilson, I wouldn't necessarily say that they were all authoritarians. With like the group, like with the New Deal and stuff, I wouldn't have necessarily said like 40s Republic or 40s Democrats.
Do we think that implementing income tax is out on the same level as saying that the vice president should be able to determine the outcome of a presidential election?
Yes.
Okay. Why does nobody else in like the Supreme Court or anything else support that opinion? Where do you get that opinion from?
I would say it's equally not undemocratic, because I don't like the word democracy, but I think it's equally tyrannical. Yeah, it's equally tyrannical. 100%.
Okay. What does tyrannical mean to you?
I could give you the actual definition of tyrannical.
Well, I'm just curious because, like, when I think of like tyrannical, or if I think of more specifically authoritarianship, I think of like one person or one party making unilateral decisions, sometimes against the will of the people. That's my big issue with Trump right now. Is he tried? No,
there can be tyranny. There can be tyranny by multiple. It doesn't have to be a single person committing tyranny. It's just oppressive. It's an oppressive government. Like that's all it is. It's like tyranny. I'm pretty sure that's the definition. I mean, I could look it up real quick.
Okay, so like if the income tax came from the 16th Amendment, it was an amendment, meaning that means a huge percentage of Congress voted on it, that were all elected popularly by individuals. We think that income tax is just as tyrannical or authoritarian as one man telling the vice president to change the outcome of the election?
I think it's a different, because I think maybe if we put it up to a vote and the Congress was representative of the people, and if Congress was representative of the average person, and the average person, you know what I mean? And I think they probably, and like a vote came in that said, can the vice president unilaterally do this, that, or the other? I think an argument could be made that law would be passed now.
No, I don't think the vice president has. I don't think anybody would think the vice president ought to be able to determine the outcome of the election.
Well, no, no. I'm saying based on like everything that happened in 2021. You don't think that at that point, if like with 70, I think it was 71, 70.
Oh, conservatives might have supported it, sure, but that's my issue.
Yeah,
is that, like that's authoritarianism.
Right. Well, okay. So this is my point. So that is authoritarianism. So whenever Republicans vote for something that's authoritarian, that is authoritarianism.
Well, no, when you centralize power in one figure and give them the ability to determine the outcome of an election, yeah, that seems like authoritarianism to me.
Right. So I would argue that the same thing with the income tax. I think those two things are the exact same thing. How is that inconsistent in my? And I'm not trying to be rude.
Because the income tax was passed by all of Congress, literally added to the Constitution and checked by the Supreme Court. All three branches of government, in like majority fashions or supermajority fashions, were involved in amending the Constitution. There wasn't one man just trying to hold on to power.
I would say that one more time. I was reading chat. Go ahead. Say that one more time.
I don't think that comparing like an amendment where the entirety of Congress and 2/3 of the states and everything ratify something, I don't think that's the same thing as the president of the United States deciding that he wants to win the election, so he tells the vice president to change it.
No, yeah, and I'm not. Okay, I'm talking about it more in like a. I'm not talking about the action, right? Because like the action in it, I'm saying if this was put up to, so is the idea of an income tax, regardless of whether people voted for it and thought like, you know, based on other people's opinions, I guess. I don't know how to phrase this. But that income tax, even though, like, regardless of it was voted for people, because tyranny of majority is a thing. People can be wrong. Like, the majority of people can be wrong. So, and we know that, like, cultural ideals change along with, like, generation and stuff like that. So, I sincerely do believe that if the founding fathers had heard of the income tax, they 100% would have considered it tyrannical. Without a doubt. Thomas Jefferson was totally fine with the whiskey rebellions just because of an excise tax, like just because of a whiskey tax.
Okay, but they also gave us tools in the Constitution to amend said Constitution if we
right, yeah, 100%. Well, and
this isn't at all comparable. Whether we think an income tax is good or bad, the arguments that you can make to justify an income tax are broad. The ability of the government to take care of the welfare of the people, to provide for an active military, to enforce border policy. There's a million legitimate arguments that can be debated relating to the passage of an income tax or giving Congress the ability to levy an income tax. I can't think of any to support the president of the United States being able to tell his vice president to unilaterally throw away the election.
No, yeah, I would have to agree with you on that. That wasn't my central. I know that we're going through this point by point, but yeah, I don't necessarily like Trump, so I'd concede on that point, I guess. Mine was more 100. Still, it's regarding the rhetoric, and that's why that's what I said to you yesterday. It was more about the rhetoric regarding conservatives after January 6th and about January 6th, and like not the demonization, but just the outlook that it seems like left wing people have on that event.
What do you think? Sure. What is the bad outlook?
That it was an uprising, or not. Well, it was an uprising, but that it was a what's the word they used? That it was a coup, which I mean,
attempted
I don't spend too much time online.
Yeah.
No, they didn't even say it was. Well, yeah, an attempted coup, insurrection. But they say all these things that I just feel the rhetoric still, and in these left wing spaces, and even you, and I don't watch YouTube a lot. I don't watch all that kind of stuff. I could kind of just watch you and like when I get the chance. But
I mean, was it? I mean, it seemed to be an insurrection. It seemed to be an attempted coup. Like, I mean, what else? Can we not use words in reality? Or
I don't think it was an attempted coup. I do not think it was an attempted coup.
It seemed like the president of the United States seemed to utilize multiple tools to try to prevent the peaceful transfer of power in ways that were clearly illegal. What would you call it if not a coup?
I wouldn't call that. I don't. I mean, this is my understanding because I'm a history major right now, so I may just be going based off like what's happened in history, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure a coup is whenever like it'd be like something like Caesar was doing. Whenever you get a standing army, or you get you get the military or something to intervene on the president's behalf, and like I think it happened in I don't remember what country it happened in. It's like an Asian country, I think.
Sure, but you're talking about Myanmar. But also, yeah, like, Myanmar. I mean, there are bloodless coups. There are coups that are done without, like, military support or bloodshed. It happens. Donald Trump didn't have the support.
Can you name one that's happened like this?
That's happened like this?
Or anybody in the chat? Like, would you be able to,
I believe that people accuse people... I can tell you one right now if you want. Or, I'm sorry, did you want to... Go ahead.
I wasn't trying to...
Okay, so in Bolivia, I believe that people were accusing Evo Morales and his party of attempting to coup the government because they tried to pass a thing to extend term limits, and then people accused the election of being rigged, that he'd rigged the government, and people were accusing that of like, and almost like a kind of coup, basically. There was a
kind of coup, basically. What does that mean?
What word would you use if not coup? We don't have to fight over the word if you want.
I think the coup has a lot of negative. I think
it should have negative implications. The reason they have it, coup is not. Hold on, a coup is not bad because the military is involved. The coup is bad because you have a person trying to contravene democratic opinion. You got a person who's trying to basically steal power from a democratic majority that's not giving it to him. That's why a coup is bad. You're doing things in opposition to what the public is granting you. That's what's bad about a coup, not because the military is involved.
This is and I'm not trying to like have a I don't know argument with you or anything like that. I'm just more trying to like have it be cordial. But what do you think like? Do you think that the majority of people can never be wrong? So do you think in 2020 the majority of people could have never been wrong?
Of course, the majority of people can be wrong. How else am I supposed to answer the question? Of course.
Well, no. So so is it? So to say, it's bad because and this is my, and it could be my own perspective 100%. But if we understand and we're able to admit the fact that the majority of people can be wrong, then how can we say, well, the majority of people want this, so what you are doing is wrong?
Just because the majority of people might be wrong doesn't mean the majority of people don't want a thing. It's up to the majority of people to determine what's right or wrong. If you think that the majority of people could be wrong and you're in favor of one person making decisions opposite the majority of people, that's called an authoritarian government. Wait, hold on one second. Okay, sorry, I'm back.
No, yeah, I didn't know if you were talking to me or anything.
No,
so
you're good.
I was just quiet, but what were you?
If you're saying that like the majority of the people can be wrong and one person can decide that, then that's called an authoritarian dictatorship. That's a dictator. That's one guy deciding. Well, the people don't know what they want. I'm going to decide for them.
I don't think it was one. See, I think Trump was a. What would you? A conduit. I think Trump was a conduit of like this conservative populism. I don't like, and I think I've heard you say this before, but you talked to a bunch of conservatives that supported not January 6th, but support this, that, and the other like conservative movement, but hate Trump. You know what I mean? So I don't think. I think it's fair to say that it wasn't so much a one man wanting to do this. It was like the conduit being and I don't know if I can curse on here, but being crazy. So it was just a bad conduit. I think that's why you saw a whole bunch of like Republicans or
but the conduit was for a coup. The conduit was to overthrow the government and to prevent the peaceful transfer of power.
Well, I understand, but you were phrasing it like, well, this is one man that wanted to do this, but it was this sentiment's been building up for years. It really isn't like a right wing only phenomenon. It's there is left wing populism too, and
there might be left wing populism, but there's the fact of the matter is that Donald Trump tried to coup. There were people that supported him. Yes, I agree. That's my whole argument. That's why January 6th was an insurrection, because all those other people supported the coup as well.
Okay. So I guess the way that you're phrasing it though, and maybe I'm like, I don't know if there's like cognitive dissonance. I just don't understand. Like, I don't know. It wasn't just like, it wasn't one dude trying to do something and then everybody being like, yeah, I don't know. It was a sentiment of Republican. And this is just me because I live in Texas and I live in Houston, so it's very Democrat, but there are Republicans around me. I don't think, a lot of Republicans weren't like, oh, we need to do this so that we can get Trump, we can allow Trump to blah, 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 blah. It was more, it's an anti-Democrat sentiment. And as somebody, like, I can tell you this 100%, it doesn't have anything to do with pro-Trump. We like Trump. It was and I heard this whenever Trump got elected and I was like, yeah, you're right. But it was like, and anyway, but the MSNBC guy was like, this was a white lash against a black, it was a backlash. And so I don't think it was a backlash against all of these things that had happened within the last 4 years. And now these last 4 years with Biden in office, or people are just angry at,
people can be, all you're doing is giving me justifications for why they wanted to do the insurrection. They were mad at Democrats. They feel like things were unfair. They didn't trust the system.
But is that how? But that's my okay. So this brings me back to the anti-American thing. How is any of that anti? That's how America.
It's anti-American because they're disregarding the democratic process, and they want to just do it authoritarianship. That's not how the country works. Unfortunately, sometimes people we don't like.
That's not how the country works. Yeah, no, that's not how the country works now.
No, the country has never worked that way. We don't do rebellions and overthrow the government because we don't like the election results. That's not how the country works. Except, I guess, when we try to do a civil war.
Yeah, except for whenever we do a civil war, except when we have a risky rebellion that like half of the founding fathers agree with, and all like all those other kinds of things. I could probably bring up more.
Hold on, was the Whiskey Rebellion legal or illegal? Did those people get arrested, or did they? What happened? What was the result?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They did, but like George Washington was a Federalist. There was a whole anti-Federalist sentiment that was very strong. That was in support of the Whiskey Rebellion. That was, so I don't. The whole idea of like this is anti-American. Well, this has been the whole idea that we should be able to revolt whenever we want to. The idea that we should be able to like have grievances and not fight against the government in like a.
Okay, do you think there's ever anything that we can... Do you think there's ever a bad revolt or a bad rebellion, or do you think all of them are good and fine?
I think all of them are good and fine, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not critical of how the Democrats wield power then. You support Russiagate, you support all the investigations into Trump's campaign, you support the indictments against Trump now. All of that is okay as well then, right?
So, well, my problem is, if you start that the whole problem is like Democrats started that process. Like,
I'm not asking you to start it. I'm just saying right now you're okay with all of it, right? Since it's all part of how we, I guess, do everything, whatever we want, right?
Well, I would argue that a bunch of the methods that they're using are tyrannical, and
so who cares? They've got the support of the people. As long as the people are supporting them, who cares, right? You said that.
No, but that's the whole. There is tyranny by a majority, tyranny from majority, but there is a universal truth that I feel like is more important than, and I think so.
Can you say how is Russiagate tyrannical, but Trump telling Pence to overthrow the election is not tyrannical?
No, I'm saying the methods that they go like. So you're saying like, I don't really understand what your argument here.
What is the method? What is like the method that makes the January 6th thing not tyrannical, which was Trump, one man, telling the vice president to keep him as president? Some might say
I'm more talking.
Some might describe him as a tyrant doing that. What makes that not tyrannical, but an investigation from a intelligence agency that involves thousands of people? What makes that tyrannical? What thing is tyrannical? What is your marker in your mind? What is tyranny and what isn't tyranny? What does tyranny even mean to you?
Okay, so there's a couple. I'm
just curious. What does it mean to be? What does tyranny mean for you? What does that mean to you?
So, if I answer this question, then can I clarify?
Sure, I guess, yeah.
Can we? Okay, so tyranny to me looks like people using the government, wielding it against the people without their consent, and without their consent. That's pretty much it. Yeah, some people wielding government agencies, wielding government institutions to oppress people without their consent.
Okay, I can kind of agree with that. I think so. Yeah, I think tyranny is the wielding of power against people. Generally, people mean governmental power. Yeah, without the consent of them, right? That's why we rebelled against Britain, right? No taxation without representation. But
right.
How does that not perfectly fit Donald Trump trying to overturn the election? Is that not changing how the government functions against the will of the people? Is that not tyranny?
I could argue. So, and this is the thing I wanted to clarify, and I can agree with and maybe I'm not wording it right, or maybe I'm not presenting my point right. I can agree with you, and I can sit here and we can go point by point with everything that Trump did, and I can say, and I can probably agree with you. You probably read. I'm not super big into reading all of the court cases and things like that. But I could probably go through all the things that Trump did and say this is tyrannical or this is wrong, blah blah blah. My whole point was, and I don't know if I'm being, but my whole point is the actions that Republicans or conservatives took on January 6th. I can't sit here and say that it was in a liberal society, and this is what the founding fathers believed. So I don't know, but
just to be clear, none of the founding fathers would have supported the president trying to use the vice president to overturn the presidential election. Right. I don't know why you keep saying the founding fathers. None of them would have supported that.
But my focus isn't on Trump, because to be honest, if we locked Trump up today, I'd be fine with that. I wouldn't really care. Because my issue again was the conduit was crazy, and the conduit was a madman. If the conduit was I don't know.
Yeah, the conduit was Trump for tyranny. Yeah, and he's being supported by Republicans that are pro-tyranny. That's the problem, right?
I don't think the Republicans are I don't think most conservatives are actually educated on what Trump is actually doing, and I think they're just focusing on I think you said something earlier in the chat that I did hear while I was reading, but it was you said I feel like Republicans just go based off vibes. I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the problem is that the conservatives are just going off vibes.
Yeah, but the vibe is an authoritarian, tyrannical vibe, which is that the God Emperor should be able to do whatever he wants.
No. Maybe, yeah.
But that's the problem. That's my problem.
But I don't think it's shifted. I 100% think it's shifted over time. But
that's fine. But that's my issue. That's my problem. I think that's potentially going to be the destructive thing to the country. That's
But I don't think. See, I think if you actually talk to Republicans on the street or Republicans that just go to work, don't sit online all the time, because I don't know if it's confirmation bias with the whole Nick Fuentes thing, because I think he's a Nazi and stuff. But I think if you were to go and talk to like Republicans on the street, you would find none of them actually like and tell them all of these things about Trump. They wouldn't support Trump, and they just try to find a different conduit that was like a better.
No,
like,
I think they would support Trump, and I think every single part of our political system right now.
Where do you get that?
Literally everywhere, all of the polling data, all of the state legislators, all of the elected.
I've never, and nobody I've talked to is ever, and I'm not trying to interrupt you. I apologize, but I've never been polled. My family's never been polled, and I know there are some polls you have to.
Okay, all the polls are fake. How do you describe the Iowa
No, I'm not
results?
saying the
Is
polls
that
are
fake
fake
too? You just said the polls are fake.
No. I said I've never been like. I'm saying I don't know if the polls are actually.
You don't trust the polls. Do you trust the Iowa caucus?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that Trump right now would win the primaries if every Republican voted in the country?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then why did you just tell me that you don't trust the polls when you're telling me that the outcome of the primary would be exactly what the polls say?
Well, the polls don't necessarily say that they think Trump is a god emperor that should control everything.
No, but at the very least, I mean, that's what Trump says about himself. Trump has said that he is a god
Trump's
emperor.
an idiot, and everybody says that Trump's an idiot.
Well, what do you say about a group of people that support an idiot? Who are those people?
Because they're supporting. No, yeah.
That's what I'm sorry, but that's what you're saying. Like, you keep saying Trump is an idiot. Like, listen to yourself. You said to yourself that Trump is an idiot, and you said that you'd be all in favor of throwing him in jail and locking him up, but you and all of your party support him. What does that say about you guys? You couldn't find a single other person in the country that could represent you better than somebody that you yourself say should be a convicted criminal? Felon?
No, well, I think it's kind of just you will take. I think it's just taking the best method of taking like the path of least resistance. Trump already was president.
Path of least. Well, you chose Trump over Cruz, over Rubio, over today. We had Nikki Haley, Christie, DeSantis.
Yeah,
why not DeSantis?
But back in 2016, and this is the thing is because he was a conduit for a growing anti-democratic, not maybe
for a growing anti-liberal, anti-democratic.
No.
Yeah.
No, not anti. What does liberal mean to you? Like liberal, like to me, liberalism not liberalism invites, but if we were to live in a fully liberal society, yeah, like, and this is, but I don't know how familiar you are with like John Locke and stuff, and like, but anyway.
Hold on, just to be clear, anybody that you're citing, none of these people would agree with you. John Locke is not going to say Donald Trump and his supporters are good for democracy or healthy for America. George Washington, none of the founding fathers, every single thing that we created in government for all of these people are to prevent people like Donald Trump. All of these people would hate Donald Trump. None of them would be supportive of him. So I don't know why you would cite any of these people as like.
But would they say that they have a right to go down to the Capitol and not even just like peacefully march? Like, would you concede that they would totally be fine with an armed uprising from any group of people at any time?
No, that's dysfunctional.
That's what Thomas Jefferson says word for word. I can. You
cannot pull up something where Thomas Jefferson is saying there should be an armed uprising all the time. I know there's that one quote of like the blood of freedom should be whatever renewed by blah blah blah, and it's fine to have quotes and shit, but there's no way that you can have a functional society or a functional government where every 10 years there's a armed rebellion. It would be crazy. They'd be the Wild West.
He says, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery, and I could probably find the whole context of what he's saying. But the whole like concept of I would rather have dangerous freedom than peaceful slavery is I would rather have there be not consistent civil unrest all the time, but if people feel they should have a right to revolt against their government. And it shouldn't be this thing where look at how bad these people are for revolting against their government. Because they revolted against their government, they're terrible people. They're idiots.
We're not talking about like
they support tyranny. They support authoritarianism.
Here's the issue. Okay, you've made the mistake of roping yourself in with an incredibly American idea, but the problem is you're doing it in the most anti-American way. Okay, rebellion against an oppressive force. Okay, that is a very American concept, and all the founding fathers would support that. Donald Trump is the oppressive force, though, that you are supporting. There's a difference. All rebellions are not made equal. All coups are not made equal. A rebellion against a tyrannical force that doesn't give you representation or isn't listening to the voice of the democratic people that are supposed to be holding them accountable, that would be a rebellion that anybody would support. But supporting a rebellion where you're saying Donald Trump should be the emperor that can unilaterally decide an election, no, these are the people we're supposed to rebel against.
In a sense, yeah, but I feel like not the Democrat, but the establishment pre-Trump perfectly encapsulates all of that still.
No, it doesn't. How?
I mean, I could point out a lot, but they think
to point out one thing. Let's do one thing before we'll pivot off of Trump, who you admitted should be in jail, who you admitted is kind of tyrannical. We'll pivot off Trump one time. Give me one action. Give me your best one, not a random one. Give me the best thing that you've got where it's like Democrats did this and this is like as tyrannical as what Trump tried to do, or it's approaching it at least.
Democrat. Okay, so are we talking about Democrat politicians, or can I say Democrat like the Democrat citizenry, like
whatever you want? Democrat citizenry, I guess, maybe.
Like,
sure.
Okay, so I think 100. Okay, and this is just my opinion. I think the whole George Floyd riot and all of the things that happened in 2020 with all of that is equal to what happened on January 6th. I've seen, and I don't know how accurate this is. There could be more information, but I've seen Democrats going into their state capitol buildings exactly like people did on January 6th. I've seen violent. I mean, back in 2016, whenever there was the whole parade and.
Okay, let's just focus
like
on.
There was violent rioting. There was violent rioting.
Sure.
Hold on.
There's violent rioting.
Violent rioting just as much as January 6th. Like if we put the videos next to each other, they'd be the
so
same.
you're telling me, just to be clear, because you're the one that said it, okay? You're telling me that the year's worth of rioting, that whole year, all of that equaled the one day of rioting on January 6th? Are you sure that's the argument I want to go with? Because that makes January 6th sound way worse than any conservative.
No. Well, I'm not saying that they were, but I say and this is my personal opinion on the whole. They can get arrested, they can do all that, but they had a right to riot. They had a right to do all of this.
Hold on, I don't know why you keep saying that. Hold on, you don't have a right to riot by definition.
Not right, but. Well, yeah, they do have a right to riot.
No, you don't. That's why rioting is a criminal charge. You do not have a right to break the law. That is not true by definition.
Okay, you have I don't know.
We can say there might be a moral obligation to protest or riot against maybe unjust laws or something. If you want to say that's fine, but you can't say you have a right to break the law. By definition, it's not a right because it's not protected because it's a criminal charge. But let's say you want to go with it.
People should be allowed to riot. People should be. I should phrase it.
No, they shouldn't be. Why? Why would you want people rioting and blowing shit up? That's not good for society.
I think okay.
You have a right to protest. How about that? Can we do protest? I think you have a right to protest.
I think you have. Well, of course, you have a right to protest. I think you have a right to not because saying you have a right to use violence says like kind of if we're going to use it axiomatically, it kind of extends like you can use violence for anything. But I'm not trying to say that, but for like any issue. But I do believe that there are issues serious enough, and especially now, I think the environment that we're in today is 100% comparable to 1776 and how they felt. I think the American sentiment today is the exact same. And so I don't necessarily. I think there are certain situations. In certain time periods
you're close. Where there are, I actually kind of agree with you. I think the sentiment is very similar, in that if Donald Trump would have actually circumvented the democratic process and won, we would be in a 1776 situation where if you were an actual American patriot, you'd probably have to take up arms to prevent that. That would be crazy. If the president of the United States found a way to prevent, for the first time in U.S. history, the peaceful transfer of power, we would be in a 1776 situation. Thankfully, Vice President Pence didn't go along with the tyrannical plan to literally upend American democracy, so we're not at that point. But to say that Republicans were there because they were unhappy with the outcome of the election, do you think that was the reason why we rebelled against England, is because we were unhappy with an election result?
No, we were unhappy with taxation without representation, I guess, to use them.
Okay, it wasn't. They weren't saying it was because of the fake news wigs on television that were, I don't know, Hillary Clintoning their way through.
They kind of were.
No. Okay. Okay.
They were talking. I mean, they talked about the media all the time, like the whole. It was, and I hate to quote. I love Thomas Jefferson, so I hate to quote him a whole bunch.
Well, I don't know. Hold on. I don't know why you would ever say that. You don't like any of the founding fathers if you support Donald Trump. None of these guys would be a fan of Trump. They would hate Trump more than any other president, probably, than we've had in U.S. history. Because Donald Trump literally is an authoritarian figure that doesn't like democratic rule of law and doesn't support the institution of any of our electoral processes. Donald Trump is like the worst possible person you could like. And then to also say, oh, I really like Thomas Jefferson. All these people that espouse ideals of like federalist governments and limited governments and all these things. Why would you say, oh, and I like Donald Trump? That's bizarre to me. I don't understand how you could possibly do that.
Well, I feel like you're still, and I don't like that. Maybe I'm like have cognitive dissonance, and like you really can't separate the conservative base's desire, like sentiments, and Trump, and maybe you can't separate those two things. But I'm trying to.
I can't do that. I cannot separate the sentiments when he enjoys 94% approval from the Conservative Party. I can't do that. You're correct.
But so okay, whenever they say 94% support, 94% of Republicans support him, what that 94% supporting him doesn't tell you is like they support. They're like, I don't think that if you would go in and say, like, I honestly do think that over half of the people, if you were to go down like what Trump has done, they wouldn't support it. So like the 94% is I'm supportive of the move, like, and I hate to say the movement because that sounds really lame, but I'm supportive of the movement. I'm supportive of the sentiment that that something needs to be done about the establishment.
Yes, so I agree. Something does need to be done about the establishment. What needs to be done is it needs to be upended, and we need God Emperor Trump. You can keep saying that you don't think most are going to support it, but the reality is more people voted for Donald Trump than any other Republican president in the history of our entire country. He enjoys some of the widest approval ratings. I'm actually curious. I don't know. Is Donald Trump the highest rated approval president by party in all of U.S. history? Was there anybody that beat him?
Ronald Reagan would probably beat him.
Did he? Did Reagan win over Trump in terms of Ronald Reagan? I can't spell this guy's fucking name. Reagan approval rating versus Donald Trump. Also, I don't know if approval rating.
Maybe the Democrats had like a super high approval rating of him, but I could be,
by party.
No, yeah, and I'm still saying, like, I think he won in a fucking. I mean, I can't remember the guy's name that he won against, but
okay, and then also okay, so I'm just curious, okay, because you said that the George Floyd riots are, in your mind, they're comparable to the January 6th stuff. What would you say if you had to say what were the causes? Why did people riot over the George Floyd stuff? What were the causes?
Well, I'm gonna have to put myself in the mind of somebody else. I can't 100% tell you, because I would probably is not going to be accurate.
So hold on, just to be clear. Sure. So just to be clear, you have no idea what the causes were for the largest collection of protests and riots in U.S. history. You can't think of anything. Okay, well, because you don't have to put your mind into anybody else's mind. You can just go by what they said, right? Because it was huge on news for like a year.
Yeah, the police violence against like black people, against the government being systemically racist.
Okay.
What else? Yeah, I think those are really the two major issues.
Okay,
yeah.
Interesting.
Police violence against.
And then, what were the remedies that people were looking for?
To upend the police.
So we have abolish
destroy the police. Yeah.
Abolish/destroy the police. Okay. We'll say those are the main ones. Okay, so if you're
one more time?
Abolish/destroy the police was your remedy.
Like what their intentions were?
What they were looking for.
Well, they were trying to defund it or move funds from police to like social workers and things like that.
Okay, gotcha.
So to minimize the police.
Okay, on January 6th, what do you think those people were protesting for?
The upend. Okay. So this is for me, and I could like.
No, I'm not asking for you. I'm asking them. What were the January 6th protesters protesting for? What were they unhappy about?
Well, this is my thing. I can't tell you.
You can't listen to anything they say. You can't. Why can't we just listen to anything they've said? They're all very vocal about it. They're all on social media everywhere. Why do we don't have to guess?
Okay. I think the reasons for the January 6th riots were people's disdain for the establishment and for government institutions, things like the IRS, the ATF, like all of these.
You think the J6 protests were because of the ATF and?
No, well, it's just got like these separate government agencies that we didn't like. It's a whole bunch. I mean, it's a whole list of things, and we could be here for 2 hours if I listed everything point by point of what the contentions were, what the issues were, like that people were protesting for. Well,
what were they? Well, they were marching after Donald Trump gave a speech. They were there on a particular day, on January 6th, after Donald Trump said that our country is being stolen from us. What were they protesting?
Like I said, and this is because I live in a Republican state, and I know actual. So it's like we just don't like the establishment, and that's what we were like. That's it. I can tell you 100% like with that, and this is from my experience because I know I know people that. Hold on, can I finish this?
Yeah.
There are people that have never supported Trump throughout his entire presidency. Didn't really pay attention to him. Didn't like him. And then as the whole election stuff was happening, and as especially after it was the Joe Biden, it was the Hunter Biden laptop stuff. After the Hunter Biden laptop stuff, right before the election, every 20-year-old dude around me was like, "Oh shit, this is fucked up. We need to revolt against the government," who never paid attention to politics, because it was just like very clear that Democrats were, and this is, I don't know how people don't, but maybe it's like people are okay with it. Democrats were trying to like actively, I mean, I get everybody does propaganda, but the propaganda against Trump was insane to the point where it was like from every single angle, whether it was establishment Republicans to Democrats to far leftists, and it's obvious to the normal person. And the normal person who sees that, who doesn't even care about politics, whenever they see things like that, are going to be upset. And so I think and are going to look for a way and look for a conduit to fight against that. And so whenever all of these, and this is just from my personal experience, like I said, I can't speak for everybody because somebody in Kentucky or whatever could have a completely different outlook on it. But from what I have seen from people around me, they care more about government corruption and government control over our lives, and wanting us to be a true republic again, and not wanting, I don't know. And there's a whole, I didn't want to just stick on this because I had some other things, but there's a whole other, I think.
Okay, wait, here, hold on.
Something.
Okay,
yeah,
you said that you said you're a history major, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you mind saying what year you are in school, or how old you are, or anything, or?
I'm 20. Okay. Yeah, so I'm a year and a half in, I guess. So I'm like a sophomore, but I'm taking
in history. Right, if I were to ask you what the Whiskey Rebellion was about, what would you say the Whiskey Rebellion was about?
I would say the whiskey. So the government was trying to find ways to get money because we were having difficulties at that time, but getting taxes and
don't
getting
care about all
like
that. I'm saying the rebellion, the people themselves. Mm-hmm. What were they rebelling for?
They were rebelling because they didn't think that the government should have a right to tax them on things like things like tobacco, alcohol. I can't remember the word, but yeah.
Yeah, and how do you know that? How do you find that out?
Those vices, I don't know yet. How do I find that out?
Yeah, how do you know what they were protesting about?
News articles, like journal entries, things like that, like letters from.
Sure. Just like looking at what they were saying, right? Mm-hmm. The protesters themselves didn't want whiskey to be taxed.
I'm not as articulate as somebody from 1780, so I can't tell you exactly. I'm not as poetic as them.
Well, hold on.
I don't remember exactly their quotes.
That's fine. But I'm just saying that we can, in general, we can just look at it was.
Yeah, they didn't think that the government had. They didn't think that the government had.
Yeah, but I didn't need 50 million. They were anti-establishment, blah blah blah. They didn't like the whiskey tax. I think it was the first tax. It was levied in American history, and they didn't like it. They were like, "This is bullshit. This is we just literally rebelled for taxation without representation. Why the fuck are they putting this tax on us? This is bullshit, right?" So that's what they were protesting for. So for J6, Donald Trump gave a heap and whole speech, an hour-long speech right before they went marching, and they're in Washington on January 6th for a very particular reason. Shouldn't it be really easy to figure out, why were they there? What was the protest for?
Well, I haven't. Yeah, so, I mean, and this is off of vibes, but kind of all of history is based off vibes. I don't know. But my modern version of those journal entries or those news articles or this, that, or the other would be and I hate conservative media, but I'm just saying for the conservatives, they would listen to Ben Shapiro, or they listen to Louder with Crowder, and they talk about it. They talk about it in bars. We talk about it in the church. We do that's my version of letters back and forth. So I kind of get my understanding of why are people angry, why are people upset from how they talk to their friends, or how they talk to the media, or how the media talked about it. And then today I get my sentiment of why are they revolting based on media. So I guess YouTube for people would be the modern version of newspapers. So from newspapers, and then people talking. So people saying
why can't we just look at what Donald Trump and the protesters themselves said when they were there? Wouldn't that just be such an unbelievably easy and simple way to understand why they were there and what they were protesting for?
I think Trump is a master rhetorician. I think he's really good at convincing people of stuff. I think he's super charismatic.
Okay, fine. Let's say that's true. Wait, what did he convince the people of?
I don't think he convinced. Well, I think he can. Well, like one thing I think he convinced the people. Because I think he was convinced of it was that the actual numbers of the votes were incorrect.
There we go. Okay, that's okay. Correct. So people were there because they thought the election was stolen. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
can you add? I know you're typing right now. Can you add like an underline, a hash under that? They had a sense of government corruption because I think they.
No.
Like that's really okay.
No.
Well, that's my main. That's what I think the main problem was. Is that people could understand, and I think people on the left understand.
That literally every single protest ever has government corruption. That's a meaningless thing to add. It gives us nowhere, right? BLM were protesting government corruption. The police are part of the government, right?
Yeah. So, okay, but I don't think. I think whenever people went to January 6th and they like went to the Capitol. In their minds, and this is just from what I've heard, and I think the whole confirmation bias from being online, because obviously something inflammatory that some like old lady says in her car that's like Trump is God and the election machines were possessed by demons. Those people are going to get a lot of likes. They're going to get a lot of shares. They're going to be, oh my God, this is what conservatives think. Conservative and this is like, and me personally, I don't have an Instagram account. I have a YouTube. I don't go on social media at all. And I think that's how most conservatives are. Most of the people that like we just chill. We have shit to do, so we don't spend much time online. And I don't think,
to be clear, hold on, that's not true. The average conservative spends an ungodly, disgusting amount of time online. Where do you think QAnon came from? Like,
I don't, dude. QAnon is not. I've never met an actual QAnon person in real life ever. I've even because I think QAnon was really popular in like 2019, 2018, stuff like that. I was trying to look for people to argue with them about, and I just couldn't. Like nobody. Like I was like, do you like? Because I think QAnon is the whole. There's a underground ring of Democrats.
Sure. Okay. So like, here's the thing.
Nobody believes that.
So okay, I brought up
everybody calls them crazy.
That's fine. Control F tax. Okay, I'm just looking at the transcript of Trump's speech on January 5th. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, on January 6th. Tax shows up one time in his speech. Okay. Election shows up 58 times. Pence shows up 9 times. What do you think they were here about?
That's okay, and that's my so. And this was my whole point of like, because I'm anti-Trump but pro the protesting. I think Trump saw that everybody was wanting to protest, saw that everybody was up in arms, saw that everybody.
No. Hold on, wait, stop. Hold on. I'm sorry, because what you just said is ahistorical. Trump did not see any of this happening. Trump told them to go to Washington, D.C. on January 6th. They didn't just all happen to be there.
No. I'm not talking about, yeah. So I think Trump manipulated the sentiment that people were angry about and upset about and 100% willing to, and this is and this is the thing in history where, and I mean, I'm not trying to like, I don't know, be like a smart ass, but, in history, this happens all the time, where a strong man uses the fact that everybody wants to revolt against the government already and says, "I'm the way to do that."
Yes,
everybody goes.
And that's great, and I understand. And in 1942, what would you have called a supporter of Hitler? You probably would have called him a Nazi, right?
Yeah, I called him a Nazi, yeah.
So I don't understand why you're making the argument that you're making my argument for me, that Donald Trump has brainwashed a whole era of conservatives into believing anti-democratic things that they're willing to go and try to overturn an election for. These are all my arguments. I don't understand why you're making them.
Yeah, I don't see. This is my thing. I don't. Maybe I didn't live in 1930, so I obviously like this could have been very well the German sentiment. Actually, no, 100% it was. Actually, I know that for a fact that it was. But it's still separated today. Like I think there's a segment of the segment of like the conservative population that does deify Trump, but a vast majority of them do not.
If they didn't, then why wouldn't there be a new nominee? Why would they be running a politician who's already lost once to the same one in office, unless you deified the person? I think can I put, and I don't know what happened with the Iowa caucus, and I'm not going to conspiracy theory like a whole bunch of shit, but this is my personal like belief. Vivek Ramaswamy, and I live in Houston, so that it could be confirmed. Like it could just be my area. But
Vivek Ramaswamy among young people was super popular, and I think that if the Republican base had their like Republican media and all that kind of stuff just focused on somebody like Vivek Ramaswamy, who I still have some problems with, but I think 100% like he could have won the Iowa caucus, and he could. So I don't think
that's fine that you believe that, but that you have literally nothing to support that. There's no data, there's no election results. There's literally nothing. Even Vivek doesn't believe that, right? Because he canceled his campaign. Yeah. So you're alone on an island on that belief. But I'm just
okay. So yeah, there was
Here, backing up to the January 6th stuff. What was the remedy they were looking for? What did the protesters want to happen?
I think they wanted, and okay, this is gonna sound, they wanted Trump back in office, but so they wanted Trump in office. Okay. Can I expand on that without like? Well, can I expand on that before sure. Anything else? Can I for like
Go
just
ahead.
A couple
Expand.
of seconds? Okay.
Yeah.
So I believe that Trump supporters, the people on January 6th, wanted Trump back in office. They wanted Trump back in office because they believe that if Trump is in office, the establishment cannot do what is normally like the corruption of the establishment cannot like isn't there, or it's like Trump kind of drains the swamp and makes it to where there's no corruption, blah blah blah, whatever. It still comes down to the underlying idea that that they have in their minds. The government is corrupt, and we need to find a way to not end the establishment. And Trump is the only way right now that we can work. Like voting for Trump is the only way that we can make sure that the establishment isn't in power. You know, is that like
sure?
Yeah. So I don't necessarily think that whenever people are going down there for January 6th, they're thinking, I want Trump to be in office because Trump is the son of God, and he,
real quick, so
he will save us.
Yeah,
things like that.
Do you support the BLM riots?
Yeah.
Okay. Earlier, when we talked about tyranny, we both agreed that tyranny were like oppressive government actions or things the government can do to oppress people. Okay. We both agreed the George Floyd riots were caused by people believing that police were enacting violence against citizens and that they were being systematically discriminatory. And the remedy they were seeking against that discrimination or oppression was to abolish or destroy the police or to defund/remove funds from police. So we have the cause is an oppressive government action. And it looks like the remedy was something that would have been accomplished legislatively. It would have been to abolish/destroy the police or defund/remove funds from the police. If we look at January 6th, the cause of that was that we thought an election was stolen. And the remedy was to put back the last leader in office who looked like they lost the election. Which one of these protests look more like they're a protest against tyranny and another a protest in support of a dictator?
I think whenever you phrase it like that, it kind of like, because I would have to say this one sounds more like it did, but I don't really think it's in. We should put it in those terms. I think, but
okay. Well,
which
hold
one
on.
is less tyrannical than the other?
I've got a cause and a remedy for both the George Floyd riots and the January 6th. Which would you like to amend on either side of this? The cause for the George Floyd riots were police violence or systematic discrimination against black people. The remedy was abolish/destroy the police or defund and remove funds from the police. For January 6th, the cause is they thought the election was stolen, and the remedy was they wanted Trump back in office. Of these four things, which one would you choose?
Can I choose none of them? Can I do I have to?
Well, if you don't change any of them,
remedy any of them?
Well, if you don't change any of them, doesn't it just seem like the George Floyd riots were probably a more righteous protest aimed at abolishing tyranny, as opposed to the J6 riots, which seem to be in support of tyranny?
Well, this is my thing, is that you're saying that you are claiming. So this is your claim. This is like your perspective of events, and I'm not saying I'm not trying to be rude. I hate whenever I say stuff in that inflection, but I'm not trying to be rude. But the way that you're I think that you think about it is, you see like the conservatives, and you say to yourself, you see in their perspective, from their perspective, they say, I need Trump back in office so that Trump can do whatever he wants and whatever he sees fit, and we need to just follow Trump and bow down to his authority, and we need to. I think you think that conservatives are just thinking about Trump all the time.
Correct.
Because liberals are thinking about
my
Trump all the time.
supporting evidence for that. My supporting evidence for that is that is that Donald Trump himself has said that he needs to suspend the Constitution to pursue voter fraud investigations. It's that Donald Trump says he wants to sue all of the evil media for defamation against him. And he says that he wants to, it was suspend the Constitution, it was sue all the evil media. Oh God, fuck, what was the last thing? And that he's immune from all criminal and civil liability while in office. What is that? So what is that? Hold on, I'm just curious. Hold on, wait. I'm so curious, okay? A man that wants to be the leader of a country who thinks he's above the Constitution, who thinks that the media shouldn't be allowed to talk shit about him, and who wants to be immune from all criminal and civil liability. What does that sound like to you?
Oh, wait, okay. And
no. Answer that question. What does that sound like to you? You can fight me on that. Just what does it sound like to you?
It sounds like tyranny. It sounds like tyranny.
No, it sounds like a literal dictator, right? Yeah.
Dictatorship. Yeah. It sounds like dictatorship. 100%. And this is, I guess, not my follow, because I kind of and this is my thing is I think maybe this is like a whole thing within the conservative base. We are able to, in our minds, I'll ask you this question. And this is, I don't know how liberals think about it. Maybe you agree with me. Do you think that if Trump were to get into office, do you think that there is anything that Trump could do to where even let's say a quarter of his supporters would be willing to then revolt against him?
It's possible. Yeah, sure.
So I would honestly say it's probably more than a quarter because, and like I said, I live in an urban area. I live in Houston, so I don't know.
What argument do you think that's furthering? I don't understand. They wouldn't be revolting against him for doing any of the three things that I just said. They all support him doing those things.
Well, no. So there was this clip going around. I don't know, probably because left-wing people like to bring up everything about Trump. But he said in a thing the other day, and it got brought up in my church today, where he was like, I don't remember what he said exactly, but he said, there's going to be some bad apples, man. There's going to be some bad cops. And then, also there's going to be bad presidents where you're going to have to let them do whatever they want. And you're just going to have to let them, be an authoritarian sometimes. It's just how it is. Was that a real clip?
Yes.
Yeah. So 100% that was a real clip. And I can tell you with that and maybe but see, the thing is that and I'm going to say this, the people that I'm around seem to, and because I have pen pals and I do travel a lot, so I kind of know conservatives from around the country, at least a little bit, in my opinion. And so whenever I say in my church or in my town or in in my school and things like that, and I say these opinions, I'm not going to bring up opinions that I think are on the fringe. I'm only going to talk about things that are consistent from what I've seen. The sentiment, especially in my church today, and from what I've heard before, and I don't have any on the top of my head, but just from what I've experienced before, the conservatives would 100%, with the stuff that Trump has said, especially about disbanding the Constitution and all this other kind of stuff, they would revolt against him without a doubt. In the same way that they're doing.
Where's your evidence of that?
Establishment Democrats. I don't have any. See, this is my thing. I have to go off vibes.
Okay, well, I'm going to go off of widespread support in the Republican Party for almost all the things that Donald Trump is saying, and a lack of pushback against him for literally any of the things that.
Is there a lack of pushback? Is there?
Well, let's see. It seems like 80% of conservatives believe that the election vote totals were actually rigged. It seems like the majority of the Republican Party still wants to... What was the percent? I believe it was 80% of Republicans right now think that the last election 80? Was still rigged. I think it was 80, yeah.
I don't have... I'm going to mute your stream so I can catch up to it. Could you bring that up on your stream? Or could you link that to me or something? Or is it 80%?
Where is the most recent poll of this, guys? September 8th might be the most recent one. The numbers have only gotten higher and higher as time has gone on. I think it was 50 to 60%. Oh, in 2021, I'm seeing 53%.
So it's not 80%.
No. In 2021. But I believe that number
Has risen since then.
This is a Rasmussen one, I guess, which leans conservative. This one says 81% of Republicans, as he's quoting a poll. I wish I could find the one. Oh, wait, hold on.
My thing, okay, so, and...
wait,
maybe
forethought, why the fuck did you just link me this, you fucking retard? What, are you... Hold on, no, wait, hold on, wait. Forethought, why did you link me this? Why are you linking me approval or... I'm not looking for approval rating.
I hope I'm not I'm not trying to make this like a thing where...
No, you're good.
Okay.
I
don't know if you're, yeah.
I just can't believe. I can try and find like an exact thing. I guess I can throw this out. This one says 62% of voters believe it's likely that cheating affected the outcome of the 2020 presidential election, including 43% who think very likely. So I don't know. Just in a quick search, this is a year old though. I'll start with the floor. 60% of Republicans think the election was stolen.
Think that it's possible.
Think that it was stolen. Think that it was likely it was stolen.
Okay, so 60%.
Like that there was, yeah, like there was actually.
Okay. Damn, I don't like, and maybe this is, it could, I guess I just don't live in fucking Virginia and I don't know, I don't, but I've never anywhere close to that, so I don't know.
Oh, this is the one that we just read. This was in July of last year, and I believe this one put,
wait, I thought I saw a number in the first link on your Google search, 71% back in July. That's what they said.
This one is showing, I think this was in July of last year. This shows 69% of conservatives are saying Biden did not legitimately win enough votes to win the presidency. So it seems like at the very least in the election denialism, he's got a huge amount of support there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can see that point. I mean, I guess, see that the polling isn't, I would have to ask them that because I think they would have more nuanced views than just that, but yeah, okay, well, concede. I don't know where we're necessarily going with that.
Well, if they didn't if they had more nuanced views, then why did they all show up to protest on January 6th over the stolen election? We said that they were protesting that the election was stolen. So, do you think all the people there were just a minority conservative voter, or?
No, well, yeah, well, I think it's like the people that are going to go to obviously the people that are going to go to a protest are the people that are more emotionally unstable, but yeah, are going to be more necessarily like on the violent side, on the on the skeptical side, on the I don't know. So
you've never met a conservative that thinks the election is stolen?
No, well, the conservative view that and maybe it's just my like, and I don't know, but the conservative view from everybody that I've heard that's actually like voted for Trump and everything like that. And this is the thing, is that Trump voters are quiet. I don't like, they just don't do it. Like they just aren't like that. But the idea is the media, social media, I don't know who released it. The FBI releasing all of the or telling news media that there was going to be Russian disinformation. All of, and you know,
do you think that there was? Do you think that the intelligence agencies that thought that there was likely to be Russian misinformation, when there was Russian disinformation 4 years earlier that had been verifiably, provenly happened? Do you think that their claim that there's going to be Russian disinformation in this election has the same strength as Donald Trump's claim that the entire election was rigged and stolen across at least 7 states? Do you think that would we treat both of those beliefs as having the same good faith engagement?
Well, see, the thing is, I think you are giving too much good faith to. I think in your mind, the FBI actually is trying to.
Hold on, let me ask you again. Do you think that the FBI asserting there's going to be Russian disinformation, okay, 4 years after there was an election where there was Russian disinformation, do you think that that claim has the same level of strength to it as Donald Trump saying, hey, people are going to steal this election, after he'd 4 years prior falsely made the claim that 4 years that people were going to steal the election, that claim was false in the past, and he repeated the same one with no evidence, that is the same, like, truth-telling, like, good faithness behind it as the FBI? Kind of?
Yeah, I mean, so...
How do you determine if somebody's making a good or bad claim? Well, no, wait, hold on, because you're not dancing around everything, okay? How do you determine if somebody's making a good or bad faith assertion in your eyes? What like pieces of evidence do you collect? It's like, oh, I think this guy's making like a good faith assertion versus this guy's probably lying.
Reasonable. Okay, so I think circumstantial evidence is enough. Like not enough.
Sure, circumstantial is fine.
But
sure,
certainly is
sure.
But okay, so I think
so let's look at circumstantial. So do you think the FBI had reason to believe that that Russian disinformation would be part of this election cycle?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Do you think that it's okay? Well, hold on. Can I? Okay, I'm going to talk for a second. Do you think that it is reasonable to say? Do you think it's reasonable to say that based on the media's treatment of Trump, past 8 years, but at that point for like 5 years, the treatment of Trump over the last 5 years, constant media attention on Trump, social media influencers, and large media influencing, I don't know, manipulating people, like celebrities, kind of telling people to. I don't know. It's just. Do you think that it's reasonable, like that line of, I don't know, that rationale is, I don't know, good enough, or like good enough for people to, like, I don't know, do you think that's a good reason for people to be upset and want to, like, say that that's necessarily like misinformation or something that they should fight against? Or
no,
you don't think so?
What is the misinformation? What? Are you referring to when Tucker Carlson lied to his audience with the rest of the Fox News anchors about there being election interference, that he knowingly was lying to you guys? Are you including that, or are you just including when CNN says they don't like Trump because they think he's a big meanie?
Well, hold on. Well, and I don't really like that whole, because I've heard you talk about that before. Did Tucker Carlson leave Fox News or no?
Yep,
did he leave Fox? Okay, so did he leave Fox? What did he leave Fox News for?
My guess is they probably told him he had to get the fuck out because that Dominion lawsuit was horrible for them.
Do you think that he might have been on his way out already?
No, he was the most popular news anchor in the entire United States.
No, I know, but I mean, he still kind of is because he does his own Twitter show. And
no, he's fallen off hardcore. Now. He absolutely was not on his way out.
I don't necessarily, but I don't know. But so I think this is.
Why would Tucker Carlson leave the most?
Because he was not. I think he was okay with leaving Fox News because he had to lie. So it's like saying, "Oh, this dude's an idiot because this motherfucker lied to you guys." Well, yeah, he didn't like lying, and then he quit, and then complains about the fact that he had to lie all the time. So I don't necessarily.
His complaints weren't about Fox News; they were about Donald Trump and Sidney Powell. Carlson hated Donald Trump. He said that he was insulting the network.
And then Fox News, not coerced him, but his job at Fox News was to, like, be supportive of Trump, even in spite of his feelings for him.
Okay, whatever you want to make the excuse for, the reality is that the most popular news anchor was on the most popular cable media outlet lying to you about Donald Trump, about how much he liked him. And then you're going to use the evidence that the media lied about Trump and that wasn't fair to Trump when the largest anchor on the largest cable media was lying in favor of Trump?
Well, see, this is my thing, is that you're painting you're saying, look at how bad this is. Look at how bad this is.
I mean, that's pretty bad.
Hold on. Well, something, okay. You say, look at how bad this is. Look at how much lying they do. Look at you hate how much the Democrats lie, but look at how much they lied. Well, yeah. Why isn't that also flipped? Why is it not click like in for most
because
people's, like,
I'm unaware of text. I'm unaware of text leaking. I'm unaware of text.
You're unaware of MSNBC saying Trump could be, and I fucking remember this clear. I can still read the headline. It's possible, but not probable. Trump has been a Russian spy since 1984. You don't think that, that's MSNBC, the largest liberal network on Earth.
Do you think the people that wrote that believed it, or do you think they were lying about it?
No way they actually believed it.
Do you have any proof or evidence of that?
No.
Why is it possible that Donald Trump or all of you conservatives can be brainwashed into believing things because the media is mean? Why couldn't the media mindfuck themselves into believing things?
Say it one more time.
If you think that the media could brainwash the entire conservative party into believing Donald Trump's lunacy, why couldn't the media mindfuck themselves into believing their own anti-Trump lunacy?
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Don't you think it might be possible that a guy who had somebody running in his campaign with direct ties to Ukrainian, Russian-backed politicians, Manafort, by the way, whose crimes that he was investigated and convicted on was pardoned by Donald Trump, by the way, who had somebody working alongside him, Roger Stone, who was communicating directly with WikiLeaks, by the way, in order to coordinate the release of information that was obtained via Guccifer, who hacked Hillary's email shit, or the DNC's email shit, who was Russian, by the way. You don't think that people might think legitimately, maybe Donald Trump does work for Russia? You don't think that maybe some people might have thought that in the media? You think they all knew they were lying 100%?
Well, you dished out a lot there, so I do. I do believe that I don't have any, because I don't go in there. I'm not I don't autistically go in my bedroom and read news articles all day and night about politics. But so I don't know. I don't have. There could very well be text messages or emails or something to that effect of MSNBC anchors of major right wing or major left wing media figures knowingly lying about certain things. And this is one thing, and I want to bring this up real quick, because this was, and I'm not. This is the problem, is that there's just I don't like misinformation and lying. So whenever I see somebody that does nothing, and this is my opinion, and this is Republicans' opinions, I guess, just flip-flopped, and it's exactly the same for the opposite side. But we see Democrats just lying all the time and getting away with it. And it's just saying a whole bunch of bullshit that doesn't make sense.
Do you recognize that there's a difference between lying and getting something wrong? Do you think there's a difference between those two things, or are those always the same? Wait, think about that for an instant. 1 second. I gotta open my door. Hold on.
Ooh, okay. I don't know if I should be quiet, but...
Nope. Okay. Is there a difference between somebody lying about something versus somebody getting something wrong?
I don't think there is. Okay, well, maybe I should.
Is there a difference between somebody lying about something versus getting something wrong?
But the thing is, you're saying.
Is there a difference between somebody lying about something versus getting something wrong?
Yes.
Okay. How would you figure out if somebody's lying versus if somebody's getting something wrong? What are some strategies that we might employ to figure out if somebody's lying about something versus somebody just got something wrong?
Going based off previous statements that they've made, private statements that they would have made between other people. In terms of
maybe the evidence that they cite for why they believe.
Evidence.
Yeah, sure, exactly. Yeah.
Evidence, yeah.
So if somebody were to tell you that I think that Donald Trump might be a Russian spy because he's got businesses that he's dealt with that get money from Russian people, or he's closed real estate deals there because of the Manafort connection in his campaign and the fact that he pardoned him, because of the Roger Stone connection in his campaign, and because he pardoned him, and because Donald Trump seems to have no problem publicly stating, Russia, if you find the emails, you'll be rewarded greatly, and the fact that Putin favored Trump as a candidate. All 5 of these things are not contested. They're very in the open and everybody acknowledges them. Do you think that a reasonable person might think, man, Donald Trump, fuck, I bet that fucker might be a Russian spy. If they find something, do you think a reasonable person might think that that's a possibility? So they could say that without it being a lie? They might just be wrong?
See, and this is where I have okay. I think that if, I would consider it a lie if you were to work back, if you were to, I don't know, work back from a conclusion that you've already.
No, we're not even thinking about. No, we're not even thinking about it. First of all, that doesn't do lie. But no, but I'm just asking you: is it possible that somebody who knows all those facts to be true, among other facts, that they could reasonably think that maybe Donald Trump is this thing, and then like publish stuff about it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's possible. Do we think that it's possible that Donald Trump, after asking every single person that worked for him, the White House, and his campaign team, or his re-election team, when he asked all of these people if there was election fraud, and they said no, when he went to all 7 states and asked if there was election fraud, and said no, they said no, and then when he was shown videos disproving specific claims, and then he repeats all of those same claims on TV days later, because all of this would benefit him greatly, does that look like he's lying, or he's making an honest mistake?
Donald Trump, I honestly do. Yeah, I think Donald Trump 100% without a doubt believes in his heart of hearts that the election was stolen, that there was like demon magic in the like poll machines. That,
okay, why would you think Donald Trump would think that? What are you assessing to find out if Donald Trump is being truthful? Why do you think he really thinks that?
Because there's circumstantial evidence and there's reason to believe based on his actions.
What is the circumstantial evidence that the election was rigged or stolen?
Well, no. I'm talking about, that's not what, I'm not saying that there's circumstantial evidence the election was rigged. I'm saying there's circumstantial evidence to believe that Trump believes that it's rigged.
No, what is the evidence?
Maybe circumstantial evidence.
Whatever, or just whatever you want to call it. Like, we've got 2 different worlds. One is a world
based on his actions. Okay. 100% based on his actions.
So one is a world where Trump is lying, and the other world is where he's just mistaken. So what is your evidence for him being just mistaken?
Well, I don't have evidence, but my reason for believing that he, his continued like fervent belief that he is the president, that he lost that election. Like I think that if somebody, I don't think anybody that is in Trump's position, who is a billionaire who like shits in a gold toilet, would risk going to prison for a lie. I just don't think that. I 100%
Has anybody in the history of mankind risked going to prison for a lie? Have any billionaires gone to prison? Did Epstein go to prison?
Didn't he? Yeah.
Okay, why would Epstein go to prison? We could just go to a third world country and fuck minors. He didn't have to do that in the United States.
I don't see the connection. I don't see how those two
Why
things
are we
related
saying
at
that
all.
Donald Trump wouldn't risk going to prison for a lie if that particular lie could guarantee him another 4 years in the White House? It's a pretty big trade-off.
No. See, I don't think that he would like. And this is I don't think if somebody like him asking Pence to like throw out electors and put in fake ones. I don't think that, because pretty sure that's and then him telling all the states to find him votes. I think those are the 2 main reasons, that like 2 illegal things that he did, right? Or was there more?
Well, he's being charged with obstruction.
Because of the whole filed stuff.
That's in one thing, but it's or not obstruction. I'm sorry. It's the defrauding of the American public for basically the right to their vote or their civil rights or whatever. Was the big thing for the Jack Smith case. But like, how about this? Okay, here's a question: Did Donald Trump ever admit he was wrong about any election fraud stuff ever? Did he ever say, "Oh, this claim was incorrect"? Did the Trump campaign?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, maybe minor, but the idea in general, I don't think so.
Did Donald Trump ever present strong evidence for a single claim?
I think he went to court and he had all of his evidence in court. A lot of them were dismissed on standing. I think some of them were based on merit, but were dismissed on merit. I want to say, but I think it was.
So the majority of them were dismissed for lack of evidence.
Hmm. But lack of evidence isn't evidence of absence, though.
What does that even mean? What?
Or like
no, I understand that. I know what that saying means, but it doesn't apply here at all, because we're trying to figure out, right? So it seems like Donald Trump never admitted he was wrong about anything that we know that he was wrong about. He repeated false claims, or he repeated claims that other people around him told him were false. All the people that he trusted to look into election fraud said there was none, and he ignored all of them. And what does he need to do for you to think that, like, well, fuck, maybe he was just lying? Like, what do you need to see to think that, like, well, fuck, maybe he was lying?
probably physical evidence that, like, a statement of him saying, a statement of him saying something, something that we could interpret as
a confession,
acknowledging that it's, but it doesn't even have to be a confession for me. It could just be, okay,
then why are you so confident in saying that MSNBC and all the media was lying earlier when you don't have that evidence for any of them?
Well, it wasn't just, I put out one example.
Okay,
of it,
can you give me a single example?
Sure.
Can you give me a single example? Just give me your strongest. Don't give me random shit then. Just give me your strongest evidence you think the media is lying about something, where there is a confession of some sort or writing where they're like, we know that we're lying about this.
Did Trump, and I guess rewind and let's rewind back to 2020 and like pretend we're not 4 years after that. So we're in 2020 and I'm asking you, has Trump ever denounced white supremacy?
I don't think so. I don't know. Did he?
Oh, well, look it up on YouTube and you can pull up there's like 27 examples of him saying that I denounce white supremacy. And yet MSNBC, CNN had news anchors and had people on and had scientists, just everybody that was talking about Trump. Constant, like if you were, I used to watch this guy.
Wasn't the reason why all these stories went popular, wasn't it because he was on the debate stage in a Republican primary and they asked him specifically if he would denounce white supremacy and he didn't respond? He said he wasn't going to. Wasn't that the whole reason why that story blew up so much?
Well, I wouldn't be, I'm not a leftist, so I wasn't angry with that whole thing.
Hold on, I'm not asking if you were angry or not. I'm just saying, didn't that happen?
No, so I wasn't paying attention. I didn't go in and look at articles and see like why, like what happened, like the events of why they're angry. But the claim was like he didn't denounce whites. He's never denounced white supremacy. And that statement, Trump has never denounced white supremacy. I'm pretty sure there were headlines about it. Like, but there were plenty of times whenever he has. I don't think that the headlines
were saying Donald Trump has never denounced white supremacy. I think the headlines had to do with he didn't do it during the debate. Because he explicitly was asked it. I don't think he did, because it was over the Proud Boy shit. That's when he made that stand back and stand by statement or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think that's accurate. I mean,
so you think there were headlines saying Donald Trump has never in the whole history denounced white supremacy? Where are these? If they're headlines, we should be able to find these news articles then. So we should be able to see like Donald Trump has never condemned white supremacy.
Yes. I mean, we could probably find some.
Okay, if you want, go for it. I'm gonna go use the bathroom. I'll be back. 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Search, look for one. I'm curious if there was a headline saying Donald Trump's never, ever.
No, yeah, I'm gonna look for one.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted you to be able to do what you're gonna, because I thought you said you were gonna go do something. My bad.
Okay. Anything?
Yeah. So I have one. I wasn't gonna go because I don't necessarily think there's like I don't have to link it to you, by the way.
Just tell me the headline of the article and I Google it.
Oh, so it's is it a USA Today? No, I thought it was a Guardian article. Yeah. So you can look it up. So Donald Trump refuses to condemn white supremacists at presidential debate. And this sentiment had been going on for a couple of years because I remember I was like super left wing, or not left wing, but I was like a big Bernie supporter.
Is this a CNN article?
No, the Guardian.
Okay. Like Donald Trump refuses to condemn white supremacists at presidential debate. Okay. What part of this is a lie or even wrong?
Say it one more time.
Sorry, none of this is a lie. He refused to condemn white supremacists at
presidential. No, but watch the video. Watch the video. Can you bring it up on stream or no?
Sure. Hold on.
I don't know if it's.
You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa.
Okay, so I see this in chat. I want to dude, you are 20. How the fuck were you a Bernie supporter? I wasn't able to be a Bernie supporter in high school.
Groups.
Okay, hold on.
But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared to specifically do it?
Well, go ahead, sir. I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. Do you want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
Supremacists and
who would you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right-wing militias.
stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left director. This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacist. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got to be
not
kidding.
militia. That's what his FBI director said.
Well, then, you know
what? We're done, sir.
Okay, sorry. Wait, so, okay, what was wrong? I just looked at this. So what was wrong with this clip, or what was incorrect, or?
Okay, so I didn't have it pulled up. I wasn't watching it along with you because I don't have your stream. But he says, "Are you willing to condemn white supremacy? Are you willing to condemn it?" Or sure. And I heard two sures in there, right away, right. And then so you can't. He said, "Sure," but most of it I see from left wing people, and
as in him saying "Sure, I'd be willing to condemn it," and then he kept talking about other things. There wasn't a clear condemnation. Right, that was the whole point. That was what Wallace was looking for. By the way, a Republican, Wallace.
But he's already. So, and this is just my opinion if I have already explicitly condemned something multiple times.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Had Donald Trump? Hold on. Had Donald Trump ever condemned? Hold on. Had Donald Trump ever condemned white supremacy or the Proud Boys up to this point in the election cycle?
Yes.
When?
You can we can look up videos. There's whole compilations of 70. So there's 10-minute compilations.
No. Stop. Hold on. No. We're not talking about in the 70s. I'm saying in this election cycle when it's relevant.
There are not 70s the decade. I'm talking about there's a whole bunch of 70 isn't the number, but just
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Quantity of examples.
Okay. Also, wait. Quick correction. Wallace was a Democrat. Oh wait, I thought Wallace was on Fox News. Am I crazy? I'm mixing him with somebody else. My bad. No, he was on Fox News for 20 years. Oh, maybe he was just a Democrat on Fox News. My bad. I don't know if he party switched or not. Okay. Okay, wait. What do you what is even the claim right now? What is the issue?
Well, I mean, I feel like you've moved this conversation. You've moved this conversation so much that I don't even know what this
Okay, wait, hold on, wait. Okay, to be clear, I haven't moved the conversation anywhere. I'm trying to figure out in your mind. Wait. I'll lay it out completely. If you're lost, let me help you find yourself, okay? Because I don't like it when people say I misled. I'm not. We're following a very, very, very clear chain of where this conversation came from and where we are now. So I'm trying to ask you what you need to see if somebody lied versus if they were just making mistakes. Because I think Trump lied. I think it's very obvious. I think Tucker Carlson lied.
What is your evidence? Okay,
wait. I'm trying to tell you how we got to where we were because you're lost, and I'm trying to help you find yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
So. Okay. I tried to give you a whole bunch of reasons why I think Donald Trump lied instead of made mistakes. And then you rejected that and you said, well, I think that the media lies. Oh, no, hold on. I'm sorry. Earlier you said that the media lied, MSNBC, and you said you don't think Trump lied. So then I asked you, okay, well, hold on. What was your evidence that the media lied? Why do you think MSNBC lied, but Donald Trump didn't? And then I said, give me your best example of how you think that the media lied. Give me the best example, because I want to see what your rationale is for it. And your example was this particular thing, that the media lied about Donald Trump refusing to condemn white supremacy. So that's what we just looked for, and that's how we're here right now. Because I'm trying to figure out what is your standard of evidence by which to determine somebody lied about something. Because for Trump, it is obviously unreasonably high.
Hold on. So what I would need to tell, I wasn't listening to half of that. I apologize, but I was doing something else.
I don't think there's any lies being told here by MSNBC or The Guardian when they say Donald Trump wouldn't explicitly condemn white supremacy on the stage. There was, he didn't.
Okay. So, and this is what moved me from being a left-wing person to a more in the center was the actual words. So I
to be clear, hold on. You were never a left-wing person. You're just a populist supporter, and you went from one populist figure, Bernie Sanders, to another populist figure, Donald Trump. You're never left-wing, right?
Okay, I agreed. Okay, maybe I agree with that. Well, anyway. Anyway. I wouldn't be able to bring up the exact news segments that I watched and the exact things that because it would take way too much time, and I don't want to have you sit here for 30 seconds while I look for videos and have to just show you links of times and all that other kind of stuff, because I don't have it right at my disposal. So I don't.
Hold on, wait. I'm not asking for anything unreasonable or crazy. No, wait. You have the impression that the media lied, big lies, horrible lies. So I'm just curious, what in your mind, what is an example of a lie that you think the media told you've got good evidence for feeling like they lied? I I can think of a couple things that are wrong on, but they print retractions and corrections. One of the things I asked about Donald Trump was, has he ever corrected himself after telling a lie, or at least a piece of information that was wrong? No. So that was just one thing. So if you think that the media lies all the time, I'm just curious, like, what do you think are some lies that the media has told?
Again, I do think the whole the condemning white supremacy stuff, the not doing anything at the border. Oh, here's another thing. So, I have a whole. See, this is the thing. I have a Post-it note. Give me 1 second. I have my school stuff with. Okay. Okay, so. Oh yeah, it's just okay. So it's the rhetoric, and this is the whole point of like why I messaged you the other, why I did the donation thing, was just the rhetoric surrounding all of these is very clearly, and I get that you are a left-wing person, that you're a Democrat, but clearly, but I think you pride yourself in that you do try your best to be as center as possible. So in that effort, that's why why I messaged you, because I was like, I think I can help tell you the regular everyday dude who doesn't spend all the time on social media kind of perspective, right? There's things like this that kind of turn people off to the left wing, to the stuff that you said. So one thing you said yesterday, I don't see Biden losing. Dude, what? How? I don't know how separated from reality you have to be to you think that Biden could not lose, but that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And then another thing that was so funny, I literally busted. I'm not trying to be a dick. I actually did find it funny.
To be clear, you're telling me that I'm disconnected from reality, and it sounds like 30 minutes ago you didn't know that a supermajority of the Republican Party doesn't think the election was legitimate. So I don't know who's less connected to reality, but go ahead.
Okay, so but I don't know who they're polling, and then the
polls are all fake.
The polling isn't so. Hold on, not that it's all fake, but it's not necessarily representative. And
that would be fake. If it's not representative, then it's fake. Polling is supposed to be representative by definition.
Well, but the thing is, whenever you say fake, I'm not necessarily saying there's an intention behind it. But this is
okay. They're accidentally fake.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. We can say that they're accidentally fake. But it also doesn't go into the nuance of those views enough. And this is I don't think people actually. Anyway, I don't think their positions are represented in those poll answers. Whenever they say I strongly I have strong beliefs that the election was. That's stolen.
Great. Everything you're saying is fine. You have no evidence for any of this. So anyway, to move on to the point you're gonna make. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So you said something super funny where it was I can't see Biden losing. Everything's so. The only thing I could possibly see him the only problem for Biden is the economy. Trying to brush off the economy, that's the only problem is the economy. It's the optics on the economy, which I believe is all optics. I don't think the economy is that. I think it's done a pretty good job so far. But the optics on the economy is terrible. But for you to say the only issue is the economy is just a weird thing to say. Where it's he's probably not going to lose because the economy. It's just the economy that's bad. And so the optics are important there. And then another thing that you said, and I don't have this one because I only have 3 things written down on this note, but it was what did you say? Oh, it was something about foreign policy. You're his foreign policy has been great so far. I love his foreign policy. The optics on the foreign policy, though, suck. It's so bad. The withdrawal from Afghanistan, it was probably it still sticks in people, especially down here in the South, where a lot of people have family members in the military and things are I have a brother in the Marine, and yeah, they still have that in their brain. So it's not that hasn't gone anywhere. Russia invaded Ukraine under the Biden administration, not under Trump, and I know that that could not matter in reality, and they could have done it under Trump anyway. But the optics for it and the vibes are, oh look, Biden got into power and the world thinks we're weak and Russia is willing to like invade Ukraine and go to war because, you know, Biden's president. Iran, like, and this is like people in our there are a lot of secular people and there are a lot of people that don't actually like the government and are fine with America. But I have a buddy that I talked to that lives over there, and oh my God, the propaganda that they have is absolutely insane for America. They have like he showed me a picture of like a thing they have on the walls over there was like an old man with a gun and like painted an American flag and the barrel is dripping, like the barrel is like a limp dick or something. So that's how the world thinks of it. That's how the optics are, and American people can feel that. And I guarantee. I mean,
to be clear, hold on. Just to be clear,
we gave billions of dollars to Iran.
To be clear, the entire world hated Trump. Basically, almost every single country looked less favorably upon us with Trump versus Biden. Like almost every single world. Just to be clear,
and I know this is. I 100% agree with you. Like my issue wasn't like I'm a conservative and I.
Well, no, hold on. To be clear, stop. You're a Trump supporter. Nothing about anything you've said is conservative. You're just a Trump supporter. Go ahead.
Okay, I mean, all right. January 6th supporter, really. I didn't really like Trump for most of the thing, and then the whole January 6th stuff happened, and I was like, anyway. But so the only problem for Biden is the economy. Weird thing to say for me. The foreign policy stuff was also bad. And I think I've heard you say this before, but do you think that the border is an actual issue?
No.
Like, do you think?
I think it's an option. I think people think it's an issue, but I don't think there's like anything crazy happening at the border right now. No.
You don't think there's actually like an influx of people coming in?
Is there an influx? There's always more people trying to come in. I think under a Democratic president versus a Republican one, and there's also like the COVID shit stopped, and then people came in. But like in terms of like per capita refusing people at the border and per capita enforcement of border policy, I'm pretty sure Biden is doing a better job than Trump, even absent the Title 42 things. I think the Cato Institute did a big analysis on like how the border stuff is being handled. But
yeah, how far do you live? Do you live in Florida or you live in Nebraska or
Florida?
Florida. Okay, so that's like how far is it? I think it's like 700 miles. So you live about 700 miles from our border, right?
I mean, technically, I live right on the border. If I'm looking at my Cuban brothers that are swimming from Cuba, I don't. Yeah, I don't live in a border place. I don't know what you want me to say.
Okay, so where are you getting where are you getting the idea that because I live in Texas, I live in Houston in a Democrat city, so I kind of, and I'm not trying to like say that you're 100% wrong or like anything like that, because obviously I don't know, all the stuff that I've seen in person could be wrong, but what evidence do you have, like evidence other than vibes, what evidence do you have that the border isn't an issue?
Because the most recent thing I read was a big Cato Institute analysis showing that Biden is probably doing a better job on the border in terms of sending people back than Trump would have even done during his administration.
Okay.
And that had to do with the amount of people like that were expelled from the country, which I think under Biden was around 51%, around Trump was about 47%, and it has to do with the amount that were, I think, released into the country for asylum-related purposes, which was about 48.6% for Biden, and it was 52.2% for Trump. Yeah, but I mean, there were a lot more that came in under Biden, but one is because COVID ended, and COVID impacted it a lot. And then two, Biden can't use Title 42 anymore to expel people either, or refuse to hold on to them or whatever, because of the way the health restrictions work. But even absent that, it seems like Biden is doing a better job at managing the border than Trump does. But there's more immigrants trying to come with Biden, because for whatever reason they do it when the Democratic president is there.
Well, yeah, and that's really because it's the rhetoric of the party. Like I want to, he probably is doing a better job at like per capita wise, kind of everything that you said, or figuring out who's there for asylum purposes, kind of processing them, whether they should be able to stay or not stay, doing all those things. But it's a sentiment of being like the Democrat Party that has caused this influx.
Hold on. To be clear,
I don't have any.
Wait. To be clear, I have evidence. I'm plenty of this. It's not the sentiment of the Democratic Party. It's the sentiment of the Republican Party talking about Democrats. They're probably the ones that fall, because Democrats don't get into office and they're like, oh, every single illegal immigrant, come here. Oh, we welcome all illegal immigrants. Oh, all illegal. There's literally the Kamala Harris thing, like, don't come. don't come. It's Republicans that are always saying, well, with a Democrat in office, open borders, open borders, open borders. That's what Republicans say about Democrats. Meanwhile, Hispanic people called Obama the deporter in chief because of how aggressive his border management was. So I agree that it is about like the things that the parties say, but it's Republicans. They're the ones that always scream, open borders, come on in, as soon as a Democrat is in office. Democrats don't say that.
I don't have these things on hand, and I wish I didn't think I needed to prepare. I thought, well, because I wanted to come in and just have like a conversation, so I didn't really like prepare for a debate where I had evidence and stuff like that. And that's not what I study or what I like to really. This is kind of like secondary or tertiary thing that I like to learn about. But where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so yeah, you said either way. I don't. Well, I'm going to say two things. I don't have any evidence for them. It's just based off my person. So my fiance is like Hispanic, and they didn't come here illegally. They overstayed a visa. So I don't have anything that I just go based off like what she's told me about her family. This is going to sound. I'm not true. This is exactly what she said. This is not me saying it. How do I? They think that Democrats are just going to like they think Democrats they didn't like Obama, and the reason most of the people from Mexico, I don't know about other Hispanic countries, but Mexico really hated Obama because of this whole thing he did where he sold guns to cartel members, and it gave a bunch of weapons to cartel members, and basically allowed the cartels to become like a militia group or become the government. But so they hated Obama for that. They didn't hate Obama because he was deporting a bunch of people. They still were trying to come into America 100% whenever Obama was in office. And then whenever Biden has come into office, but yeah, so her family just has, I don't know, has tried to come to America. So so. I don't know.
I have no idea what you just said, other than telling me that you're helping somebody like illegally immigrate to the United States. And
we're
family illegally immigrate to the United States as well.
Yeah, I'm not trying to help them at all, but
well, by definition, that's what you're doing. If she's getting married to you while overstaying a visa, she's
an
illegal immigrant. What you're doing is called daisy chain immigration.
So So her mom overstayed her visa. Okay. Her mom, because her sister here had cancer. She came here in the 90s, overstayed. This is all. I don't need to be saying all this, but she overstayed her visa. Okay.
She was an illegal immigrant.
Got married. Well, yeah. Then got married to her dad, who was an American citizen.
Yep.
And then had her here. Yeah. So she's anyway.
Yeah. It's called daisy chain immigration. You've got the baby that's here, that's born on U.S. soil, and then that baby can sponsor future family members coming in, or if she gets married, that husband can sponsor future family members coming in. But yeah, it's an illegal immigration strategy. Yeah.
Was that a gotcha for me? I don't know. I'm not trying to do anything.
I'm not saying it's a gotcha. I'm just explaining it's like an illegal immigration strategy.
Yeah. So, but I'm just saying. So it's like whenever so that's one thing that obviously I don't have any. I don't have any evidence for it. I'm not gonna like. It's all a bunch of personal stuff, but you live 600 miles. Like you live so far from you live on the east. Like yes, you live next to Cuba, but the Cuban people don't really want and
I mean, I also, to be clear,
the Cuban people that are there are fine.
To be clear, I lived in California for 3 years, which I could be wrong, but I think California has the most amount of illegal immigrants in the entire country.
No,
I lived in California for 3 years. Number one, okay, so that's kind of weird. And then number two, pretty sure under Donald Trump, your fiance would literally be deported because I think Donald Trump said that he wanted to get rid of birthright citizenship for illegal immigrants to get rid of to patch that hole. So.
That could be true. I don't have any evidence for that, and we don't have to spend a whole bunch of time on that. But,
I mean, you don't have to. Literally, he just said it. Former President Donald Trump on Tuesday pledged to challenge a long-standing interpretation of the U.S. Constitution in an attempt to end birthright citizenship for children of unauthorized immigrants if he defeats President Biden in the 2024 election. So if she's your fiance, I hope you schedule your wedding soon, because if you really think Trump is going to win, maybe one of the things on his agenda is deporting your fiance. So be careful with that. But
well.
I guess it goes along with the conservatives voting against their own interests,
so,
but
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, so that's one thing I don't have any evidence for.
Okay. You said you live in Houston? If I lived in LA, who is closer to the border? 2-hour drive to San Diego.
It's probably LA's. I think it's way closer.
Okay, and Houston is a blue city. I don't even know why you brought up you living in Houston.
No, okay, so, and well, okay, this is another thing I don't have, well, I just bring it up in Houston because I'm like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm only around Democratic, like I'm only around like left-wing people, and I'm only around, so I do live in Texas, so I do know, like I do meet Republicans quite often, but you know, I live in Houston where most of the people are Democrats, so that's kind of, anyway, but that's, anyway, that was my point. But another thing I don't have any evidence for, do you, like, I don't really have a problem with it because I kind of am fine with not illegal immigration, but I'm fine with immigration, so I don't have a problem with like anybody coming over. But the problem is illegally, and because why are you doing it? I don't know. You don't have to break the law. Anyway, do you think at all that there is an increase in like, and this maybe this isn't a problem, and it's not like, and I could be like very conspiratorial and just like history brained, where I think everybody's trying to destroy America because but I mean, I do know for a fact that Iran is trying to destroy America.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. What do you mean history brained? Everyone is trying to destroy America. America is literally the leader of the free world for the past like 80 years. What does that mean?
You don't think that there is any attempt by other? You don't think that any country on Earth, thinks that they should undermine America's basically full control of like the world?
Yeah, of course. We fight over influence in the world all the time. Who do you think wants to defend that influence more, Donald Trump or? No, well, that's not my point. No.
Okay. Let me get to my point. So, I could be wrong. I have a feeling. I have a feeling that China would like to undermine the United States. Anyway. But you don't live next to a border. I don't have any evidence for this, obviously. I mean, I'm sure we could pull up videos because there's probably a bunch of like, well, maybe there's not. I don't even know if this is reported. Who knows? All vibes, all personal experience. Have you noticed an increase in illegal Chinese immigrants at all in the United States?
Probably
is there any
not.
stats?
My guess is
there any stats that anybody could
probably
could
not.
bring
Illegally
up?
immigrating to the United States as a Chinese person is probably incredibly fucking hard. I doubt there are very many illegal Chinese, except for people that overstay visas, maybe.
I don't know. Well, okay. So, I had this in because, and I need to. Maybe I need to start not living in the real world so much and stop reading like old books and stuff. But I could be wrong on this. This is how I rationalized it in my mind. I live in Houston. There has been over the past, and everybody is like kind of talking about it, like not talking about it in a bad way. We don't. It's not in like I don't want to make it seem that way, but there's been an increase in, like, noticeable increase in Chinese people that are like here illegally that don't.
There's no shot that people in Houston are seeing massive amounts of triad gang members, okay, kung fuing their way up and down the street. I don't believe.
No,
I don't believe any.
Well, I mean, I don't think that. So, do you? And maybe I don't know immigration policy enough. I don't think it's easy for a Chinese person to legally immigrate here and not know English and not have any possessions, and I don't know, like working. I don't know, not like I don't know. Usually, whenever I see immigrants that come over here that don't speak it, they own a business or they own this or the other, and they're like, but the normal like barbacks when you go to a bar, like the kind of like service working population, I guess. I don't know. Like, so I work at a restaurant. We have seen an increase in the people coming and looking for jobs being like, and it's not like a huge increase as well. It's not huge or whatever. But this is how I rationalized it in my mind, and you can maybe clear something up for me, and you can tell me like that doesn't make any sense, and that could never happen, and they could You don't think that there's any possibility that that people from China, maybe not even Chinese agents, but just people from China are flying to, I don't know, there's maybe, I don't know, but it could be flying to like Mexico or these.
Sure, apparently there are people that try to fly into Ecuador and they try to migrate north, apparently.
Are they Chinese?
Because they don't need a visa, I guess, if they fly to Ecuador and they try to legally migrate north into the United States. Sure.
Is that actually a thing?
Yeah, I got linked an article for it, sure.
All right, well, okay, so, well, I mean, that's not really, like, integral to my point, but, okay, well, my vibes are right, so that's cool. All right, well, I don't know if that means anything, but...
What vibes do you think are right? You live in Houston. You're 300 miles from the border.
Yeah, so if that was my point. So it's like if people in Houston are seeing an increase in not only Hispanic immigrants, but immigrants of immigrants of like all countries or whatever. That I feel like that's like a red flag or like something we should be worrying about. You don't think that it's this is one thing because my professor was talking about this like last. Like you probably find it was probably in like August or something. But there was and I could be wrong, but I have heard that there was a like a lab in California with like Chinese immigrants that were creating basically like HIV and not creating, but they were working on like mutations for certain diseases, and then they were creating like viruses and colds and things like that. I don't know if anybody has a link and if that's actually true, but they were creating a lab, and it was like the health inspector found a rat, and they were like, okay, we should probably check this out, and they went in and they found like drugs and fucking.
Don't you think it's like more likely that like economic conditions are just like really fucked in China right now, and they're just trying to like.
No, I know that for a fact. I know that. See, that's
okay, so why wouldn't we go with the really simple explanation instead of like?
But does that mean that we? But you said the border. But the problem. But the issue was you said that the border wasn't an issue.
I don't think that the border is a real issue right now. No.
You don't think that Chinese, like not even Chinese, but you don't think that the fact that we have a border where people can cross over, create a lab where they're making HIV and like colds and like I think it was.
I don't think this is true. But I'm getting links up now, so maybe you just like a secret Chinese-owned biolab in California was found to be hiding thousands of vials of various biological substances, which included some carrying the label HIV and a freezer marked Ebola, which FBI and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention had earlier refused to investigate, as per a House Committee report released Wednesday. Is this a website you read a lot? WION? WIO News?
We read it in class. We went over an article in class, so I don't.
Is it what class is this for?
There was no. I mean, it was just a. I can't remember the name. It was my Mexican American history class, but it has a long name to it. But yeah, Mexican American history. But he likes to talk a lot, and we had conversations in his class.
Okay. Well, anything else?
Well, yeah, I didn't want to stick all on. I didn't want to stay on January 6th for the whole time because that was not important to me. It was just like one thing.
Well, it's like the one thing that's important to you. Then just pick the one thing, the most important thing.
Well, so everybody's gonna make fun of me, and you're gonna be like, all right, bye, and then just like hang up whenever I say this. But this is my honest opinion about like you and about the way that you conduct yourself and all this stuff. I really do respect how you debate people, and how you kind of like engage in conversations and engage in debates. And the fact that you were even willing to have this conversation with me I thought was really cool. I think I'm not going to sit here and proselytize, but whether you want to call it the cosmos or whatever. And I can see anyway. I think you're a very important person. I think you have a lot of power in convincing people. You're a good rhetorician. You're good at talking and presenting ideas. I think, and the word that comes into mind whenever I I think that you are that city on a hill. And I think that you have the opportunity to be a good example for a lot of people and being compassionate and being understanding and being willing to engage in conversations and willing to not rebuke people just for not understanding things, or because the way you conducted yourself even here was really I appreciated it a lot. I feel like the way to move people over to Trump is not by demonizing them and telling them that they're crazy and telling them that all of their suspicions are wrong. I think the best way is trying to understand where they came from, trying to understand why they feel agitated, and I think you do a good job at that. but I think you could do a lot better, and not in a bad way. I'm not saying that, like, but you could do a whole lot of good if you, like, whenever you talk to like most conservatives. I did, because I do watch. You're pretty much the only YouTuber I watch for that reason. But you talk to I can't remember his name. I don't know if he's popular, but I'm gonna fuck it up. Rekieta Law.
Rekieta, yeah.
Rekieta. So you talk to Rekieta. I don't. He was a conservative, right? Or am I wrong on that?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So you had a really good conversation. You had a really good conversation with him. There was that conservative lawyer that I really liked. I pretty much agreed on most of his stuff, and then you were able to, like, change the conversation and, like, take control of it, and then basically, like, make it seem like you won, which I thought was you did good. You did good. But there was that conservative lawyer that you.
Hold on, I'm just curious. What do you think is, like, the strongest criticism I've made of Donald Trump that you agree with, or that made you reconsider an opinion on something?
Well, I agree. See, the thing is, I agree with most of I mean, I agree. I just flat out do agree with most of the things that you say about Donald Trump, about, like, Donald Trump specifically. So the fact that he's an authoritarian, the fact that he tried to basically destroy, like, I don't know, destroy the system that we created for our government, where he, I don't know, he doesn't have a respect for checks and balances. He doesn't have. I agree with a lot of the things.
Okay, but you're still going to vote for this guy over Biden, so what?
No, that's not. No,
you're not going to vote for Trump?
No. Why would I do that? Why do you? I mean, do you think, like? And I just an honest question. Do you think that I've come in here as a Trump supporter, like as somebody who voted for Trump? I voted for Biden in 2020.
What was the point of this entire conversation?
But, I guess the whole point of the conversation was. Oh, but I didn't vote for Biden in 2020. I voted for.
Were you even able to vote in 2020?
No, I was able to vote in 2022. I voted in. I didn't vote for Greg Abbott because I hate Greg Abbott. Beto O'Rourke was running for the Senate at the time, and me and my fiance went out and voted for him. But I voted for Democrat.
Who are you planning on voting for in 2024?
Nobody. I don't think. I mean, I've heard that Michelle Obama is planning on running. I might vote for her.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, so my overall point is, and I've tried to come into this conversation because I'm usually a very aggressive person and a very, like, kind of in the way you talk, and I've tried to, like, not be that way, and it's. I don't want it to. I could say a whole bunch. I just don't want to be a dick and be, like, super aggressive and agitated. Okay. So, I do have a lot of nuanced views, and I know I have a lot of nuanced views on things. I think if we were to be in a conversation where you didn't think, oh, this guy's a Trump supporter, so let me attack all of his views, and let me dissect everything and be as uncharitable as possible. I think that if we were to, like, get rid of that, I think there would be a lot of things that we would agree on. Or you could at least see my outlook on things and understand where I'm coming from. But I think basically I would say if you want people to vote for Biden or you don't want people to vote for conservatives, just try treating them like humans. I'm trying to say, like, I am like you, or I have anywhere near the amount of outreach that you do, but my whole family was, like, super big Trump supporters in 2016. Like, my mom was a very Fox News mom. And I think I've gotten her to basically not vote for, I've gotten her to not vote for Trump.
Okay. All right. Well.
But anyway, I just think that if you were to extend your good faith to, like, if you were to think that conservatives were as honest in their convictions as, like, the establishment and, like, warmongers and, like, Democrat, I don't know, politicians and stuff like that have been in politics for 30 years. I think if you were to extend that good faith interpretation to conservatives, you would convert a lot of people.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Okay.
Well, is there one more thing that I can, I don't know.
Quick, yeah, you got 2 minutes. I got to read articles. Go.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess I mean, yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay.
So
well, be careful.
All right. Oh, by the way, there actually was one more thing. You said, has there ever been a president that's lost a election and then won an election again? Yes, there has been in American history. It was Grover Cleveland. I don't know if y'all brought that up or not.
That lost an election and then re-ran against the same candidate and won?
I don't know if he ran against the same candidate. He very well could have, because I mean, incumbents usually are the ones. I don't know. I wouldn't know the names off the top of my head, but Grover Cleveland did.
Okay. All right.
So,
okay. Well, hey, listen. Thanks for the conversation. Be careful.
Well, have a great rest of your night, man.
Bye.
It was nice talking to you. Know that I'm stuttering a lot. I was pretty nervous to talk to you because you're pretty much the only YouTuber I watch. So I hope this was like somewhat listenable.
Yeah.
To the audience, I apologize for.
You're good. No problem.
Being so nervous and stuff. So.
Okay. Have a good one.
It was nice talking to you.
Yep. I'll talk to you later. Bye.